Objection! I fucked that up! Attention, duelists! Banana!
Welcome back
Pingus.
to the
I will
Yu-Gi-Oh!
never be
show.
seen again!
We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Can you believe we're at Season 2 already? It only took us
Yeah!
like
Unless you're
4 months.
watching on Crunchyroll, in which case it's all part of Season 1 still, apparently.
Yeah, welcome to Gathered Feebles, Episode 3. We recorded 2 days ago. No, we didn't.
Well, according to Netflix, this used to be Season 2, and now it doesn't exist anymore.
Yep, it's all chaos!
I don't know what is up with Netflix, but literally in
None of
between
it
the
makes
last
sense!
Okay, in between the last recording and this recording, Netflix deleted Seasons 1 and 2 off their library. Now it just has Season 3.
What?
Wow.
I have no idea why.
That makes even less sense than what I originally thought you told us about, in that they'd got rid of the whole show. But they just have Season 3?
They just have Season 3.
No one likes Season 3, though.
What's Season 3?
Virtual World.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's the one arc from Duel Monsters that doesn't have any representation in Legacy of the Duelists, the Steam game for not phones.
Wait. Wait. Even Darts is in that shit?
Yeah, Darts is in that shit, and it's very confusing considering that barely any of the cards from that arc actually exist.
Like, what does he play? Orichalcos Shunneros?
Yes.
Freaking the Divine Serpent Geh?
I don't know if he actually plays that one.
Well, he should. It's his ace monster.
Yep.
Doesn't play Divine Serpent Geh. What's even the point?
Yeah, we'll talk about how everything bad in the world when we get to it. But needless to say, that the arc that we're making fun of right now, it's better than Season 3. So look forward to that. That'll come first.
Good. So the arc that we're talking about is, of course, the first half of the Battle City arc. So, everything from its
Everyone loves Battle City.
Yep.
Cool.
And it has an exponentially better intro theme than the first season.
I disagree.
I like voice.
I really don't.
I mean,
honestly prefer the first opening.
Considering how much I've heard it,
Liam, you're alone.
Like this one really grew on me.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. You know, the second one isn't bad by any stretch, but yeah, I just think the first one is a little bit more
agrees
iconic.
with us. Taya certainly agrees with us. She has the only cell phone in Japan, and she has this theme song as her ringtone somehow.
She does indeed, yeah.
So not only is she the only person in Japan that had a cell phone in the early 2000s, but she somehow broke time and space and has the theme song to the show that she is in as a MIDI on her phone.
Well, what if the theme show to the song is just Taya's ringtone? What if it's the other way around?
Oh shit! You blew my mind. I shit you not. When Cartoon Network would do this thing where they would air their season of pilots for people to watch, they would do it. They would do that a lot. But in one of the years in the early 2000s, they aired a pilot called Kitty Bobo. The episode, the whole show, the whole premise of the thing was there's a cat guy. He has a cell phone. Isn't that interesting?
Okay.
It was literally 2001, 2002, 2000, one of those years, one of the three. It's very, very early. No one had a cell phone yet. Like, they had just started becoming something that anybody could just have, and no one wanted them yet.
Okay, then.
Okay, that's unrelated.
Yep.
Not really.
Moving on to the Yu-Gi-Oh! show,
Taya is literally the only one in Japan who has a cell phone. Of course it's related. Anyway, Bandit Keith sets the world on fire.
Yep, at least a very small part of the world.
The whole world.
Well, okay, before we get introduced to Bandit Keith, of course, we get a little moment with Yugi. he's attaching a
Getting
chain to his
fashion
Millennium
advice
Puzzle.
from the Pharaoh.
Yes, he is. Pharaoh's like, you should wear like a little bangle on your arm, and Yuki's like, nah, that'd be too flashy, and then he does anyway.
Yeah, Yugi's practicing bondage.
Yep, this is the point of the series where he just starts adding on more bondage gear, starting with a fucking chain.
I guess
Dude,
And
he
make no mistake,
he looks
make no
sexy
mistake,
AF.
that is the only reason that chain exists, because despite what he would have you believe, he immediately loses the puzzle in this episode.
Yes.
Because, no, he, not only did he lose it, he gave it to, like, a guy, like a stranger asked to look at it, and he just handed it to him.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, well, I have apprehensions about this, but I'm a trustworthy dumbass.
I put this chain on it for the express purpose of not losing this puzzle.
Okay.
But here, random shady-looking person in a back alley, you can hold my priceless Egyptian artifact.
I've had years to think about this, and I've decided that the chain is to keep people from stealing it without asking. If you ask if you can steal it,
If you ask about
if you
it.
ask if you can steal it, then yeah.
It's the you didn't say please chain.
Yeah, Yugi only respects thieves that aren't rude.
It's a safe word.
Yeah.
Please.
It's okay if Yugi consents to it.
Yeah, you gotta be polite like Bakura. Or Bandit Keith, I guess.
So yes, turns out this, okay, so Yugi and Taya, they're just walking to school, and they get diverted by this strange man in an alley, who's like, hey, I can read your future, just let me have a look at your priceless heirloom. And they're just like, okay, here you go.
I always thought it
He
was
runs off
weird.
with it.
I always thought it was weird as fuck that he's a fortune teller in this. I found out in the manga, in the scene where Yugi... We need to talk about the scene just before this, where he's in his house, he's in the house still, he's getting ready...
Yeah, he's talking to the Pharaoh, yeah.
To go to school, and then he walks out, and his mother asks who he was talking to.
Yes,
that's
the one scene
expanded
with
on
his
a
mother.
lot more in the manga from what I've read. She tries to send him to like therapy or something because she thinks he's fucking insane.
Yeah. So Yugi's grandpa is like super on board with this split personality thing. He like apparently fully accepts that that Yugi is just two people now. Yugi's mother has no idea what's going on because she is so out of the loop that she literally only exists in 5 minutes. Like, this scene is the only time in the entire chronology of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yugi's mother is even acknowledged in the slightest.
And you never see his father. Apparently he's away on business at all times.
Yeah, this is weird. This is really weird.
Yeah, this reminds me this scene is cut from the dub for no reason.
Really?
I assume because they figured, why the fuck does she exist for even here? So let's just remove her so people will ask questions.
Oh, and apparently in the manga she's abusive. Apparently Yugi was practicing tarot reading. And that's why Bandit Keith is a fortune teller in this, because they wanted to skip the Yugi practicing fortune telling, but instead they thought, hey, he's supposed to be interested in fortune telling. What if the guy, because they had to change a lot of shit around to get this whole arc to work, because as I mentioned in the previous recording, this was supposed to be part of the Dungeon Dice sequence. This whole
I was
thing.
going to ask actually, because in the manga, isn't Keith dead at this point? So, how did this go down?
Keith actually died. The person who set stuff on fire is Duke Devlin's dad, the clown, I guess.
Yeah,
I
there's
think.
a lot of stuff like that goes
Yes.
down in between the different things. Like, in the manga, Pegasus is supposed to be dead, but in the anime, he will come back numerous times in a protagonist role,
but only in
including
filler
in
arcs.
GX for
Yes.
some reason.
Only in filler.
And in GX. Well, GX is not filler.
No.
How can there be filler?
The parts where Pegasus is involved are filler, except, oh my god, I just remembered something that Pegasus actually does in GX. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't elaborate on that. I want to
to
find out naturally over the time, because apparently we're doing the whole franchise.
All I know about GX is that
there's no filler in GX because that would imply there can't be filler in a show where it's not based on
It's mostly
anything.
slice of life.
Yeah, I was going to say, the creator of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, he did oversee a manga adaptation of GX, but he wasn't, like, directly involved with it.
Yeah, apparently...
Yeah, so the manga adaptation of GX is completely different.
Yeah, to the point where
As
I
someone
found
who's
out
read
that one of the characters, he has a deck based on the periodic table of elements in the anime, and in the manga, he has a deck based on Japanese yokai. One of his monsters is literally the nine-tailed fox from Naruto. We're getting way off track. What were we talking about? Bandit Keith has a bad smoking problem. You shouldn't smoke indoors, Keith.
Yeah, so Bandit Keith has been, mind controlled in some way. We find out later that it's all the work of some dubious fella named Marek, or Malik, depending on your preference.
Or Namu.
Well,
or Namu,
we're gonna, His name is supposed to be Malik, but every translation except probably fan subs calls him Malik.
So it's
Malik,
Eris.
So.
Yeah, so, okay.
No, it is the Eris tier of bad thing, but it's Malik. Malik is a real Arabic name. It means king. Marek is what happens when you translate two things. Go through two layers of translation.
It's what happens. It's what happens when you take an Arabic name, you put it in Japan, then you put it in English. It don't work.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
it's like hitting back and forth on Google Translate over and over.
We're gonna see. It is literally that. We're gonna see a lot more of that. I imagine. I don't really know.
Ishizu is the same way.
Oh my god! Really? Those are the same? I thought that was just a localization thing. They completely swapped over the names. Like, no, those are supposed to be the same name?
No.
Oh fuck!
Yes, they just screwed up. Once again, ISIS is actually. If you were to say ISIS in English,
I mean,
we're just reading it out. They're
probably wiping sweat off of their foreheads nowadays. Now that ISIS is an actual terrorist organization, like, oh, good, we don't have to issue a warning about putting this character in our phone game. Honestly, that's
not a thing that's. It's not like the fucking swastika where you're gonna be able to, like, historically remove an Egyptian goddess from the records and, public lexicon just because, bad people made it a thing that they use.
Osiris the Heaven Dragon.
What's so special? Okay, they did it.
Yeah.
They did it for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that was just a dumb thing. That doesn't mean Osiris has negative connotations in any way.
Frankly, I don't think
they just fucking did it.
As I've said in multiple places, many times, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the franchise Konami's fucking up the least, and they're in charge of the localization on both the card game and anime. So I don't think that they would care about ISIS being named after a terrorist group.
That reminds me, can we have a segment on every recording from now on, where we just take some of the more, shall we say, lewd cards and compare their localization versions, where you just have, like, What was the one later in the series that had like a bondage lady strapped to it?
And in
the localized version, it's just like a blob of slime.
Yes.
Let's see. Masked Beast Desgardius.
Yeah.
I have that memorized. I have that memorized for some reason.
They just turned it into flubber, basically.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm going to put that up on screen.
They were probably really
and of course,
confused.
It's not shown in these. I don't think it's shown in these episodes. I could be wrong, but there's the card with the tanuki with the giant balls, and they just photoshopped out the balls.
So I imagine Upper Deck and 4Kids...
the belly button for some reason.
Look, belly buttons are very lewd.
when Upper Deck... I don't know who decided on the censorship. Oh, what the fuck?
Oh god, no. Craig, get back in here. Craig,
what?
You idiot. Craig, what the hell?
That's never happened before!
It has happened before, and it's stupid.
Interestingly...
Okay, so...
Interestingly, the artwork for the card in the TCG OCG is not censored. Because his
I
claw
want to say
covers
just quickly, the best part about
boobies.
that Tanuki card, they didn't, actually Photoshop the balls out. They just painted them black, so they blended in with the shading of the underside of the character. So you can still see the outline of them.
Okay.
They're just not textured.
It's just less clear what it is.
Nice.
And I've looked at the uncensored version of that card for years and didn't even notice it had balls until recently.
Yeah, that's just a thing that with Tanukis apparently.
Yeah, they just have big balls.
I don't think that that card I don't think has ever been printed in English, so I don't. That's why I don't think they've given enough of a shit about censoring it. Obviously it's been censored in places. Obviously it has been localized in places, but they don't put effort into cards they don't print.
Right.
So as I was saying, whichever team it was, Upper Deck or 4Kids, that decided on the Masked Beast Guardius thing, must have been really confused when they got a hold of this artwork and were like, all right, so we gotta censor the bondage lady embedded into the demon.
I mean, honestly,
why is this here?
Season 1 and fucking half of Mai's cards, I think they'd be unfazed by this point.
I mean, it's not that
basically everything to do with Harpy Lady needs to be censored in some way.
Liam, it's not that it's a straight up bondage lady on a trading card. It's that it's a straight up bondage lady on a trading card with a demon growing out of her. Why?
I mean, that's, again, you want to get really technical. This is also coming from Konami, who makes Castlevania, where that shit's just par for the course.
Look, it's not that it's gross, it's not that it's weird, it's not that it's explicit, it's that it's confusing. Why is the card like this?
But what I'm saying is, for Konami, that shit's just par for the course.
I like it. Anyway.
Yes, moving on. Has
Bandit Keith set his dick on fire yet?
No, he stole the puzzle and challenged Yuki to a duel.
Yeah.
No, he stole the puzzle. Apparently, at some point, planted a bunch of arrow signs in a series of back alleys leading to a warehouse that, for some reason, has a duel ring in it. And then just kind of nailed the Millennium Puzzle to the side of the duel ring with such ridiculous force.
You can really, I think you can really,
5 people pulling at once could not pull the damn thing out.
I think you can really tell that this is what happens when an adaptation crew has to write their own stuff.
Yes,
they were used to adapting the manga, but then they adapted it kind of weirdly. So they're like, "Oh crap, we have to justify this. For some reason we don't want to do a clown, so we're just gonna have just arrows everywhere."
Wait, what was that about clowns?
Originally, Yugi was led to the arena that he'd play the game at by a clown.
What?
I keep mentioning.
Duke's
I keep
dad.
saying. Okay, here's
Duke's dad was a clown.
Here is the sequence of events. Duke Devlin in school. Joey gets tricked into a game of poker. He loses. Then Yugi plays poker with Duke, and he wins. And then Yugi's on his way home, I guess, and a clown is clowns. So he follows the clown into a room, and then Duke is there, and he says, "Hey, I want a rematch, but this time we're playing Dungeon Dice Monsters." And so they play Dungeon Dice Monsters. But also...
They adapted Dungeon Dice Monsters, so why didn't they just move it to season 2?
They did.
I don't know why they did it this way. I guess they wanted to introduce Merrick.
In the manga, the reason that Yugi's puzzle was taken was the clown knew about the puzzle and what it does and everything, and he thought that Duke deserved to be the vessel of the Pharaoh. So that's why they played the card. That's why they played Dungeon Dice Monsters. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had already avenged Joey's honor, but now he was playing for the puzzle back. Here in the anime, it don't make any sense why Merrick would take the puzzle. He wants to lure the Pharaoh out of Yugi so he can visually inspect him, I guess.
He wants to say hi.
He wants to see...
Like, the best course of action would be to just challenge him to a fucking duel normally and not tell him anything.
Yeah, apparently Yugi... it's like a weak
example of the villain talking too much.
Yeah, so Merrick wants to see who the Pharaoh is, except apparently the Pharaoh is literally an older like Yugi looks like the Pharaoh. It just do.
Yeah.
So you'd think Merrick would be all like, that's hair, all right. That's a lot of hair. It's big, pointy. You're definitely him. Okay. But instead he goes to this nonsense, and anyway, so that's why Duke Devlin is over-designed the way he is, because they thought it would be cute to design him with a main character budget. Well,
I just thought he's sexy.
But no, he's sexy and over-designed and everything cool and all that, because, like, hey, what if we designed him as if he was a main character? That'd be funny. Anyway, so, this whole duel makes no sense. But I like it though. Because they were like, well, we have to make the best of a bad situation. What if we use this fuck up that we've done here to give a little bit more character development to Bandit Keith? And they fucked that up. He gets some more screen time, but we don't really learn anything new about him.
Yeah, so all we know is that Bandit Keith has been mind-controlled by Marek, and
we learn more about trading cards than we do about Bandit Keith.
Yeah, and anyway, so yeah, Yugi's fighting him, although it's little Yugi fighting him, not big Yugi, because big Yugi's like, no, I sense something's wrong here. I'm not going to partake in this. And
yeah, even though big Yugi was fucking dueling with fucking Pegasus and fucking relinquished the freakiest shit ever, he sees Zera the Mant and is like, oh god, I'm terrified. I am scared. Zera the Mant. That card. What the fuck? It's apparent. Okay, so apparently for a non-effect fiend-type monster, for a non-effect fiend-type ritual monster, that's a whole lot of caveats. It is the strongest there is.
I'm sorry, I have to interject for a moment, but I just saw a tweet about from an official Nintendo account about the Captain Falcon animation, and it's just Captain Falcon Munch.
Every time Every time we deviate and talk about something that's not card games, I'm going to open this bag of candy, and I'm going to eat some of the candy.
Okay. Yes, moving on. So, Yugi and Keith, they're doing this duel, and Yugi ends up... Well, he doesn't so much win as Keith tries to break out of his mind control, and yeah, that doesn't go so well for him. So, Keith
here's what happened. Bakura showed up because he...
Oh yeah, that's right, he did, didn't he?
He sensed that Yugi was in trouble, and he is the only one who, in his mind, is allowed to cause Yugi trouble.
Yes,
so
he
wanted to
my
stop
notes
this.
Right here. The enemy of my enemy is also my enemy, therefore making my enemy my friend.
Yes. Yep. So, but Bakura didn't
really
head
dumb.
straight to where Yugi was. No, he took the time to rearrange all those arrow signs so that nobody would be able to follow him.
Including some that were like 10 feet in the air.
Yes.
No, he didn't just like... We'll find out later in the episode.
Yes,
He
I don't
didn't
know
just
how-
turn a few... He didn't just turn the signs. He somehow placed like 500 more of them.
He could have just torn them all. He could have just torn them all down.
Yes,
but he
it's
wanted
very-
to be thorough. He wanted to be, because I guess arrows pointing this badly in the wrong way are harder to follow than no arrows at all.
I just want to point out, though, okay, let's just appreciate for a moment how Bakura and Makuta Pterodax are literally the same person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
they just scheme on top of schemes, and anyone who's, like, is in their way they'll like team up with their enemy just so they can get rid of the enemy of their enemy so they can have their enemy to themselves.
Yep.
And you can't get rid of them, they just keep coming back.
We'll find out later in this recording session when Bakura finally encounters Merrick, and it's the same kind of shit.
It kind of
great.
is, yeah.
It almost reminded me of the fight between Pterodax and the Shadowed One.
Yep. So anyway, Yugi is doing pretty good in this duel, and then Bandit Keith starts playing some really shitty cards that are just for some reason really rare. Zera the Man.
Don't forget, he has a mechanical card sleeve in the side of his robes.
Oh, yeah.
To give himself new cards.
Well, Bandit Keith always cheats. Like, this is probably just an extension of what.
But he just had cards like stuffed into his armbands before.
Now he has big old sleeves.
A robotic arm that like reaches out and puts the card into his hand.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, he does like.
Yeah.
He does.
To be fair, he does like robots.
So like Zera the Mant. I just keep ranting about this card because it is for some reason really rare. Even in universe, Yugi says there's supposed to only be like 8 of them. I think he says, and he's all like,
Why are
"Oh
there
God,
so many
why?"
super rare cards?
Yeah, well, it's,
I don't fucking
so there are 2 kinds of rare cards. There are really shitty rare cards that no one would actually want except for their rarity. And then there are really good rare cards, like the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Also, I just want to mention for a moment something that happened just before the duel. Apparently Yugi can remotely channel the Pharaoh now. This will probably never be relevant ever again.
Okay.
Okay, so anything that the puzzle actually does, aside from letting him turn into a guy, is anime filler bullshit.
Yeah, so the way I interpreted this is that essentially when he's touching the puzzle, he can like swap minds with the Pharaoh. That's all well and good. And like if he's not touching it, then as long as he's close to it, he can still psychically connect and like talk to the Pharaoh. And the further he gets away from it, like the weaker that signal gets. That's how I interpret it anyway.
Yeah, it's like a cell phone with bad reception.
Yeah. So anyway,
so
Bakura,
Yugi is
distracts Bandit Keith.
Yugi is apparently more terrified by rare cards than he is by cards that only exist defeat him explicitly, because he's more freaked out about Zera the fucking man than Relinquished. And then Bakura shows up, and I guess the Millennium items can just undo each other. And apparently Bakura can just turn off the Millennium Rod, which is the mind control device Merrick is using. And Bandicoot freaks out because they're like, why the fuck am I here? Why is Yugi there? Where am I? It's a duel arena! Even though I'm familiar with this situation, I'm gonna swing a iron pipe around randomly.
Something like that also happened with Makuta. I feel like it was in 2007, something involving Karzani.
Kinda.
No, you know what? What this brings to mind really is more, in Turtles Forever. I just had a minor brain freeze because I realized that I'm comparing Bionicle and Yu-Gi-Oh! To Turtles Forever. Anyway, Turtles Forever. The normally calm, collected 2007 Shredder has a huge panic attack when one of the 1983 turtles jumps onto the eyeball of a robot that he's piloting. He's like, destroying all of time, and then Raphael from the black and white era jumps on his eye, and he's like, ah! It's really funny. It's really funny.
So anyway, Bandicoo's foaming at the mouth. He's swinging this bat around, or this pole.
He's swinging this pole around. For some reason, he thinks that the mind control is in the room. I guess he thinks that he can break the mind control by swinging around a pipe.
Yes, which, as it turns out, is a very bad thing to do in this particular way.
I know what I'm thinking of now. I remember what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Leiwa being mind controlled by, or Leiwa with the mind of Tren Krom.
Okay.
And it was just like, I think it was when Artaka showed up, and it was like, you're not Leiwa, be gone!
Yeah.
Be gone, thought!
As it turns out, swinging around
Merrick is pretty much a thought.
Yeah. So, swinging around a metal pole and, smashing electronics up is not a good idea in this particular warehouse, because there's just tanks of fuel lying around.
Yeah,
for some reason.
I guess the duel arenas are gasoline powered.
I guess so.
Because the wiki says that he damaged the fuel source of he damaged the power supply of the arena. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well, anyway, point is, the whole building goes up in flames.
I mean, as a send-off for the concept of duel arenas, it's pretty amusing. You're literally smashing the duel arena into oblivion.
I suppose so, yeah. But oh no, Yugi and his dumbass chain! Yeah, the Millennium Puzzle is chained to a thing, and also broken. It got smashed. Bandicoof thought the mind control was inside the house, so he broke it. Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Yeah. So,
scattered pieces everywhere.
So, Yugi has to both put the puzzle back together while it's chained to a wall, and also not catch on fire. Because there's fire. The building's on fire.
But
the good news is, Bakura helped him before the building caught on fire too badly. Bakura helped him get the pieces back.
Yes.
At least, just so that he could slip his mind into the puzzle. Apparently.
Yes, so Bakura put a little tiny slice of his consciousness into one of the puzzle pieces.
This didn't make sense.
He literally turned a piece of the puzzle into a Horcrux.
This literally made no sense to me as a child until I read Harry Potter. The existence of Harry Potter made Yu-Gi-Oh! Better.
Wait, so does this mean he'd,
Yes.
Oh, this is very this scene is very important because later on,
Yep.
it
As
will
much as
actually
Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged
fucking
series
come
makes
back.
fun
And by
of
later on, I
Bakura
mean the last fucking
for
season.
very, very obvious reasons, everything this character does is important. Every single thing. Every single little insignificant thing that Bakura does is in some way important.
Including swapping all the signs around?
Okay, not that. Okay, not that. Also,
oh no, that'll
also,
come back in like that'll be a thing in like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 somewhere. I guarantee you. I'm calling it now.
And I guess later when in Battle City when he kills a guy.
like rules.
Anyway.
Yeah, we are not. Oh no, he kills 3 guys at once.
Oh yeah, we haven't got there yet.
Yeah,
That's very
funny.
Yeah. So okay.
Yes, it's
Anyway,
very
by this
funny.
point, the building's on fire,
funny.
and Taya has realized, Yugi's gone. She's found out where he is. She's got help.
Yep.
Honda and Jonochi.
Yugi's
she got
worried.
those guys.
Yep. Yugi's putting the puzzle back together. He's worried he's not going to be able to do it, but he's already proved himself worthy. So before there was like a magical mental block keeping anybody from putting the puzzle together. Now Yugi can just put it together real quick. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But Yugi does pass out before he can actually take it out of the wall, and so Joey and Tristan try to. They take the pipe that Bandit Keith burnt the whole building down with, and they try to beat the chain. They try to break the chain.
Okay, this is after they both try to pull it out, and apparently Bandit Keith shoved it in there with the strength of like 1,000 men.
They try to break the chain by hitting it, and then Joey comes into physical contact with the puzzle, and luckily, very luckily, because I don't think this was ever established, Yami can talk to anybody who touches the puzzle, not just Yugi. And Yami says, Joey, as it turns out, metal pipes lodged into the wall are a game, and therefore I am good at it. So, insert...
You know what? I feel like that makes
basically,
the whole
Yami
he can
is
talk
like,
to anyone
use
makes
a
sense,
lever,
because if
you
he can talk to
dumbass,
anyone that's touching the puzzle, it's assumed that he can also mind crush anyone who touches the puzzle, and that would explain why everyone else who has historically tried to come in contact with the Millennium items has died horribly.
I just really like the idea that Yami Yugi's superpower is that he's good at games. Therefore, he is good at inserting a thing into a hole in order to achieve leverage. Basically, as long
you wouldn't exist at all if he wasn't good at that.
Okay,
that's spicy.
Okay. Basically, Yami is good at anything that can be gamified. If you can make
I would like to play a game. Take off your pants.
If you could make assembling a lever into a game, Yami can do it. Yami! Cold Fusion, the video game! I can do it! Yami invents Cold Fusion.
Anyway, so Honda and Jonochi, they do manage to pull the puzzle out of the wall eventually. Yep. And they get Yugi out of there. Yugi, of course, he's unconscious, but he's gripping that puzzle real tight. He's just not letting it go.
He's not letting it go. But they get it out of the thing, so it's okay.
Cool.
Apparently, even though Yugi is unconscious, I guess ancient Egyptian magic prevents them from just leaving the puzzle in the fire. Because of destiny and whatever.
I guess. I mean, okay, so the way Yugi said it is like, oh, he can't just leave the puzzle in there. What if it, burns in the fire?
It's made of gold, which I think is flammable, but I think it would melt.
It could melt.
It's not flammable.
So
but maybe the fire.
It's cartoon metal. It's cartoon metal,
more
and
like,
the
I don't think
animators
it
think
reaches
metal,
the temperature high
think
enough.
gold
More
is impervious to
what would
all
happen
harm. So
is it would
have been fine, and also it's a Horcrux, so it has invulnerabilities. It would have been fine.
Well,
anyway, but it's all good. And fuck, we forgot to mention when Taya told Joey and Tristan about Yugi being on fire, they were at school. So they had to ditch school, and their gym teacher was like, "Hey, you can't just ditch school like that." And they were like, "Yugi's sick," because I guess they don't want to tell him that he's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
And so the guy just starts crying as if a sick child is the most depressing thing in the universe, which I guess in a way it is. So this dude is like, okay, you can ditch school as long as your friend is sick. Go save his life. Save him and sleep with him, young girl.
Quite. Anyway.
Yes.
So, yeah, all that's over. They're out of the burning building. They go back to school and pretend nothing happened. Neat.
Hell, I wonder how long we just spent on the first 2 episodes of the season.
45 minutes.
Almost an hour. You can watch the episodes and the time it took.
Oh god, it really has been 45 minutes.
Oh my god.
Moving on.
They were very dense. This was a very dense filler episode.
Every frame was so dense.
Anyway, so next
episode
up we
3,
have
Kaiba gets drafted by ISIS.
So next up we have the most dynamically shot shot by reverse shot sequence in all of video history.
Oh, are you talking about the scene where it's just like swirling around the characters back and forth?
There was absolutely no way they could adapt that scene in the manga of 2 characters just standing in the room having a conversation. They could not do it, but they found a way to do it. It's like, well, in a real movie, this would be shot reverse shot. But what if spinning?
Yeah.
Spinning! So,
spinning,
yeah.
That's a good trick.
So, like, compare this to every instance of shot by reverse shot in film, animation, literally anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more exciting when it spins!
Should we talk about the actual content of the thing rather than just its technical construction?
So Mokuba is watching TV while Kaiba looks at spreadsheets.
Hey,
I guess
they're very
that's
cool
his job.
spreadsheets, alright.
And then a lady comes on and says, "Hi, archaeology is important." And then a phone call for Kaiba happens.
Look, Seto, a museum exhibit. I don't like history, Mokuba.
Yeah. And then the lady on the phone, the lady on the TV calls Kaiba and is like, "Hey, you should like history. You should like history more. Come.
I'll give you a rare card if you agree to like history more.
Come look at my history.
I'll give you a rarer card if you agree to watch Pawn Stars on the History Channel.
Come look at my come watch the History Channel with me on a date, and I will give you a blue eye." So Kaiba shows up and is all like, "Hi, I want the card," and is like, "Look at this giant rock! Ah, a giant rock!
Give me card."
Yeah, so it turns out Kaiba is the reincarnated spirit, and this one is a lot less convoluted. The reincarnated spirit of a guy that died.
You know, that's out of all the things that I've had spoiled for me for Yu-Gi-Oh! Somehow I didn't know that going in.
Huh.
Yeah, that's why his name is Seto.
Huh.
Yep. So,
yeah,
Kaiba...
Oh, I just got that now!
Seto!
Yep. So, Seto Kaiba is the reincarnated spirit of a priest that worked under the nameless pharaoh and was all like, "Hey, what? Slavery is bad. You stop that." And so they had a big spat.
Yeah, and
Indeed
apparently
they
it
did.
involved the world's first tribute summon, which we'll totally see more of later.
Yep, there was like a big war, and Set's Millennium item was actually the Millennium Rod.
Huh.
So apparently it's a thing that you can only wield the god cards in the animes, and I guess the mangas, basically in the universe. You can only wield the god cards if you own a Millennium Rod, if you own a Millennium item. And Kaiba doesn't, but he did once, so it's okay.
Also, let's talk for a moment about how Yami remembered 3,000 years of Egyptian game history or something like that in season 0, but doesn't even know his own name now.
I tried to tell you this is how amnesia works. Is you forget all of your personal history and who you are.
Yes, but he didn't even know about the whole Pharaoh thing at all, or even anything around that. He didn't know anything about himself until this point.
Yeah, exactly. You don't remember anything about yourself or anything that's happened to you, but you remember how to eat and open doors and what a car is.
Okay, but my point is, he knew, quote, 3,000 years of Egyptian something or other, but he didn't even know he was Egyptian, so...
Yes, exactly. He didn't question it because in the early days he was only really conscious when Yugi was having a panic attack. So he didn't question it. Like, I have 3,000 years of Egyptian game knowledge. Why do I have this? Am I Egyptian? Why am I in Japan? Why is my hair like this? Why do I live inside of a small child with anxiety disorder? And why am I only do I only exist when he is having a panic attack? What is happening?
God, I wish Season 0 got a soundtrack release.
Then he has the baller theme come up.
Ishizu gives Seto a vision of the past and is like, look, Egypt. And he's like, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah, so... so basically, Kaiba is like, this is
and then
all
he sees
bullshit.
Himself and
I'm not
like,
even remotely interested in any of it,
and he
even though I totally secretly
sequence.
am. Yes.
Because, like... Yep, anyway, so eventually Kaiba's like, if you're gonna keep bullshitting me, I'm just gonna leave. And then she's all like, oh, right, that rare card I mentioned, I probably should have brought that up sooner, because then you would have got more, you wouldn't have lost interest so quickly. I have it, so there's this gang of mobsters you've probably heard of, who are after these cards, and I got 2 of them, and I got the third one, and I want you to host a tournament as a honeypot, and I'll give you this card.
No. She didn't say anything about hosting a tournament. Kaiba just came up with that shit himself.
Yeah.
Because of course he did.
Yeah.
See,
all she told him is, there are 2 more, and he's like, power.
There are 2 more of these cards.
I like the idea that
I will buy this entire city so that I can turn it into a trap.
I assume Kaiba owned the city a lot earlier than this.
I mean, maybe.
That fucking
They specifically mentioned in the subtitles that the Kaiba Corporation bought the city.
Don't worry, he truly does.
I think they've owned the city a lot longer than just now. There's a giant fucking amusement park with a murder tower in the center of it, so I'm pretty sure he's owned the city for a bit longer than a few months.
Is Death Tea still canon?
It's
I'd like there to be an actual canonical murder tower in the middle of Domino City.
So here's the deal. So Dark Side of Dimensions has characters in Duel Links, and Duel Links has characters from the anime, and the Dark Side of Dimensions is not based on the anime, it's based on the manga. But the anime was already based on the manga. It's confusing, but the point is, the manga and the anime do take place in the same multiverse. Oh god. Oh,
anyway,
didn't Arc 5 Arc V literally have a Crisis on Infinite Earth style
they're not
event?
The same kind.
I think that whole show actually was. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I probably just let it slip. There's a whole Yu-Gi-Oh series that's just Crisis on Infinite Earth for this shit.
Yes.
And it didn't clear anything up. Anyway, yes. So
Egyptian god cards, they're cool, and there's 3 of them, and one of them is very different in the English version.
Yep, so, so there's this group of mobsters called the Rare Hunter Ghouls. Or Ghouls Rare Hunters. Or just the Rare Hunters. Or just the Ghouls. They're really indecisive about what you call them. But that's okay. What they do is they steal... They find people and they duel them and they steal the rare cards if they win. Or they just beat you up.
Or
they both.
Duplicate cards. They make counterfeit cards. And my headcanon now is that the fact that you can get, like, any number of rare cards in real life is a direct result of the ghouls.
Yep.
Anyway, there's like all cards that you can actually buy in like Walmart and shit, they're counterfeit cards from the Rare Hunters.
So the reason that this is weird. Okay, so the reason that the Rare Hunters want the God cards is that they can really only make a good copy of a card if they have the original. Which means they probably do actually have Exodia cards. They just didn't give any of them to Seeker.
Well, they also work for Marek, and he specifically wants the god cards for his own ends.
Yep. So, but yeah, we do see some counterfeit copies of one of the god cards. Just the one. It's the one god card that has counterfeits, and it's got a lot of them. And, yeah, everyone that uses one of them dies. In every series. They don't just appear in this one.
Okay.
It's a thing. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah. So for now, they've just got a bunch of Exodias.
Yep, so Ishizu's all like, hey, I got a god card, here it is. And like, Kaiba's really excited about this. Oh, a god card, it's so cool! Ah! Yeah, this is the one that does the least amount of things, and is technically the least powerful, but it's also the most competitively viable in real life, so that's confusing. Well, okay. Yeah, just... We'll get to that.
That's because I fucked with the.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in 4 hours when we get to the episode. That
okay,
is
you can play Slifer.
Don't you mean Osiris?
Have a head?
We mean executive producer. Anyway, we're not there yet.
Monster is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's the next? So basically,
is it time for dance battle?
So basically, Kaiba decides he wants to host a tournament as a honeypot for these criminals, but we're gonna have a dance battle in the meantime while he's working on that, because it takes him a couple episodes to actually work out the details and probably draft up the contracts with the city planners.
Yeah. So now we
dance
go into
battle. Yes.
This is one of my favourite episodes because it starts with Yugi setting Yami up on a date with Taya.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Like in the English version, they changed it so Yugi just wants like Yami to go with Taya and find out more information about his past. But in the Japanese version, no, he's explicitly setting him up on a date.
Yeah. Yugi has wanted to go on a date with this girl for years, apparently. And he could never find the bravery for it, but he's like, hey, wait, I can set her up on a date with my split personality. That way it's kind of like she's dating me, but also, it's way less, like, it's I guess way less scary to set up a date for someone else. Even if that even if
exactly.
that someone else is you, this is confusing, and it's so just it's great because as soon as the Pharaoh comes out, he's all like, Yugi, what the fuck? This isn't a duel. What card games? Where are the card games? And then he's like, he sees Taya, and he's all like, hey,
yeah. Well, what do you think Yugi was doing this whole time? Just chilling out in the mind room?
Yeah. He's like, why does my mind room look like a children's daycare?
Yeah.
I think it's because he's usually unconscious when he turns into Cool Yugi.
Yes.
So he hasn't had a lot of time to redecorate. Maybe he's unconscious here.
Maybe. I figured he'd got over that by now.
I don't know.
Anyway, whatever.
Anyway, in America, it takes them a really long ass time to actually get around to the thing that this is happening for. So it's almost like that was a really dumb localization idea. Like, hey, what if we have it so that Yugi decides to turn into the Pharaoh for this whole episode, and then they just waste time for 30 minutes? No, he's like, Yami's been really horny. Yami's been really weird lately, so he must be horny. So I think you should go date. So they do it.
Yeah.
And they get Starbucks, and Yami looks so bored. It's like, I don't know why this is happening. I haven't been on a date in 3,000 years, and I don't know why I know that.
Yeah. And so anyway, they go to a gaming hall, and because Yami just he's just all about games, right? He can't function if he's not doing something gaming related.
You're forgetting the montage where they play with birds.
Oh yeah, they do that too.
And Yami Yami contracts a case of head pigeons and has to go to the nurse. Why does Craig keep leaving?
Craig, get back in here.
Why does Craig keep wandering away?
I don't know. Okay, there we go. He's back.
No, he's not.
Yeah. What? He was for a brief moment.
I really hope that this isn't the week when all of our local recordings die.
This is gonna be annoying.
Failed to join. If I presumably failed to log in.
You're going into the wrong one.
Craig!
Join. Please.
Craig.
Okay, there he is.
Craig, please stop.
Stop
doing that.
Let's hope he stays this time.
Please. Anyway, so eventually, so Taya, takes him to a store. I think they just go to a regular store, and he sees some trading cards, and is like, Taya, look, trading cards! And, this is the first time he's had serious emotions, this whole time, and Taya's
very happy to get those trading cards.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Thousand Eyes Bible is a cool set. This one's Curse of Anubis, sorry, I used the wrong words. I'm still getting used to the idea that America isn't the center of the world. I've been calling the booster packs we keep seeing Pharaoh's Servant. That's the American name. And it's not right. The booster pack from the Dungeon Dice Monsters was called Thousand Eyes Bible. This one's called Curse of Anubis. They both were adapted into the American booster pack, Pharaoh's Servant. No one cares.
Okay.
Anyway, Yugi's going to be using a lot of new cards from this booster pack. We even see him pull one of them from the booster pack in this episode.
Force sword.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It would have been real neat if it turned out to be the one that he won the duel with, but I guess they're not that clever.
Nah. So anyway,
although he does get a lot of mileage out of that card though, so that's good.
So anyway,
and the cover card becomes one of his favorites.
So they go into a gaming arcade and they see this guy playing DDR. He's called Step Johnny or Johnny Steps, whatever. Yep,
it's confusing. And Taya had a backstory a character dump earlier with her backstory. And is like, I want to go to America and become a dancer. And Yami is all like, I don't care, but I want to sound interested. I'm mostly just invested in your feelings.
Yes.
So he's all like, you need to follow your dreams, even if I don't understand them, because I don't know what dancing even is.
Yeah. So anyway.
So yeah,
I don't think anyone's that stupid.
So she steps up and challenges Johnny to a dancing duel.
There's a crowd of people watching this weirdo dance. It's real weird. And then a half-naked lady shows up and says like, I want to dance now. And like suddenly it makes sense that there's a crowd, because she's real hot and barely wearing anything, and she's dancing, but like the crowd was already here watching this guy dance. So that's weird.
Oh yeah, fun fact, in the American version, they decided to lengthen her crop top, but they couldn't decide how long it was supposed to be, so between shots it keeps changing length.
Yep. It's just a lazy adaptation of a lazy adaptation. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so she ends up wiping the floor with Johnny.
Yeah, she's real good. Like they have a dance fight, because apparently Johnny is able to continue to dance while actively trying to attack the person he's dancing with.
Yes.
Yeah, they're playing versus DDR, and then he decides to like trip her up while dancing because he's...
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
Yami is super invested. Yami is super invested in watching Taya dance. I get the impression that he would not give a shit about watching her dance. He would just be happy for her as a person, but he is actively interested because it's a game.
Exactly, because it's a duel. He's like, yes, now I understand.
Yes. It's like a duel, but instead of cardboard, they're using flesh legs. They're using their meat implements of walking, but for the gaming instead of walks. Yes!
And anyway, Johnny gets real pissed at Taya for beating him. And,
and then Yami is all like, hey, I haven't challenged anyone for anyone's honor lately. How about we have a card game? And despite the fact that Yugi has the most iconic and also ridiculous, just very recognizable hair. It is the most recognizable hair you will ever see. There hasn't been a spin-off of Yu-Gi-Oh! That has made crazier hair than Yugi's hair. For some reason, Johnny does not instantly recognize Yugi until he hears his name. He's like, yeah, I'll play you card games, mysterious guy who looks exactly like the guy who kicked Pegasus' ass. I will play you with my... And this is my favorite part. Johnny Stubbs' deck actually has less coherency than Yugi's, and it's the first time... It is the first time Yugi has actually dueled someone that has any business actually losing to someone whose deck is like Yugi's. Yugi's deck is not very good.
Yes, so Johnny's deck is just full of good-looking women. That's his card type.
Good-looking women.
I thought it was all his cards.
Okay, well, they're also dancers, but, you know.
Most of his cards are related to music or dancing. Yami even points it out, like, okay, like, my deck sucks, but even I recognize that this deck of yours has no coherent strategy, or what is...
Yeah, he is like legitimately...
What is your plan here?
What are you doing?
Like, you didn't have to accept this duel. Like, fuck. And like, finally Johnny plays a game that doesn't appear to have to do with music or dancing, and Yami thinks, maybe he isn't an idiot. And then he plays Polymerization, and it turns out it's okay. So a lot of early fusion cards made no sense. I think so. When Konami started actually making the cards, a lot of the cards they made into fusion cards made no sense. Like, a lot of cards have fusion materials that don't make any sense. Like, there's a cat. There's a cat with wings made out of sheep.
Yes.
Yes, and then that cat with wings fuses with a mermaid and becomes a lion.
You fuse you fuse Witch of the Black Forest and some lady with a harp, I guess. I don't remember. And you get musician, harp, whatever.
Spirit of the Harp. Spirit of the Harp.
So you take these two. So you take these two spellcaster-looking women, fairy-looking women, druids, whatever the fuck. It's like Witch of the Black Forest, very iconic card. We all know what I'm getting at. Musician King. What the fuck?
Yeah, they fuse these two.
It's like the punchline of this episode was Konami made some really dumb decisions when making fusion monsters. We're gonna make a whole episode just to point that out. Musician King makes no sense as a concept. Just, you take two women, you mash them together, you get a rock star?
Yes.
You take two, medieval-ass witches, you jam them together, you get a modern rock star.
It makes sense to me. Anyway, so, yeah.
And
needless to say, Yugi wins.
Apparently, this guy has Metal Morph. That's a good card that he has, actually. So that's neat. He equips it to fucking Musician King. Okay.
It does. And it becomes the heavy metal.
And then eventually Yugi plays Dark Magician, and he's like, "Wait a minute. Wait, kid? What's your name? My name is Yugi. Oh fuck! I fucked up."
Yeah. So yeah, Yugi handily wins the duel, and tells Johnny to not be such a douche.
Johnny decides to quit, and Yami calls him a bitch, and then Taya calls him a bitch, and then everyone decides to be friends. We never see Johnny Steps again. He only existed for this episode.
Well,
I don't even know. He's in a couple video games. I don't know if he was in the manga. I would be surprised.
Anyway, so after that, Yami and Taya decide to check out that Egyptian exhibit that's going on at the museum.
They go to the museum, and Yugi just decides to break into the room that the ancient Duel Monsters tablets.
The basement.
Yeah, it's the basement. It's off limits to guests. It seems like. But Yugi just kind of knows. So it's like, there's probably something down here. There is
ancient Egyptian magic bullshit.
And Yugi sees the thing, and he immediately recognizes the guy with the hair, and is like, "Oh, that's me! I'm that guy with the hair." Yeah. But who's that guy I'm playing card games with? I'm just conveniently not going to look up and see that it's the Blue Eyes, and like, oh, that must be Kaiba. Why am I dueling Kaiba 3,000 years ago? That's weird.
Anyway, they see this, and it finally clicks in Taya's head that maybe this guy isn't, just Yugi, maybe there's something more going on. Turns out he's like an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Who knew?
Spoilers for all the shit that I've already said anyway. He sort of is, and he sort of isn't. It's a reincarnation, but sort of not. It's...
Yeah.
Fuck.
There he go.
You know what? It's really annoying because, we need Craig for sync purposes, but also he's being really annoying right now. Oh, we'll try and get him back.
It's like Craig... Okay. It's like Craig actually is that dog in his avatar.
Yes. Just keeps getting distracted.
He just keeps getting distracted by squirrels.
I thought it was a bear, not a dog.
I thought it was a fox, but now I'm thinking it's a dog.
Kind of got the rounded ears like a bear.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So they see this. Apparently, the Pharaoh does reincarnate throughout history, and Yugi actually is the Pharaoh. They're the same guy, but it's confusing because isn't his soul supposed to be in the puzzle? And then I had an epiphany. What if the puzzle just has a fragment of his soul? What if it was a Horcrux?
Probably something like that. But
probably
anyway,
like that.
So Ishizu turns up and she's like, "Oh hey, Pharaoh, cool to meet you."
Yep. Or it would be cool to meet you if I didn't already live through this, but this Millennium necklace, I know everything's gonna happen. It's real boring, actually.
Her Millennium Talc, or necklace as it's translated.
I have no idea what a talc is, so I'm just gonna say necklace. I'm a dumb American.
Okay, I think the reason that it's not actually called a necklace is because if you look at, like, the ancient carvings of the pharaoh and stuff, he's not wearing it as a necklace, he's wearing it around his head.
Oh, so it's a tiara.
Yeah.
Why isn't she wearing it as a tiara? It's just as stereotypical that girls wear tiaras as it is that they wear necklaces. Why wouldn't you? Maybe she just thinks that in the modern era it's easier to take someone seriously if they're not wearing a tiara.
Probably. But, yeah.
But what does she have to worry about that? Literally her entire existence revolves around the Valley of the Kings.
Yeah, she's the head of archaeology. All of it.
Probably only because the Millennium items and the God cards were stolen.
No, I think archaeology is, so her family are the great, she comes from a long family line of gravekeepers.
Yes.
And, archaeology is basically the modern day equivalent of gravekeeping. So clearly she's just gonna be the head of all archaeology on the planet. Somehow!
So, yeah. Anyway, I don't think she says much of value to Yugi and Taya, apart from, hey, there's gonna be a bunch of big fights coming up, so get ready for it.
Get ready. And then Kaiba has a helicopter, and
yes.
What I want to know, and
so
obviously it hasn't come up yet in this series of episodes we've watched, but I want to know how Shoddy plays into all
Yeah,
that's a very good question.
For reference,
Takahashi forgot about Shoddy.
Shoddy will explain the dark side of fucking dimensions. No.
And even then, it's gonna just raise more questions than answers.
That's fine. The dark
because
side,
it's not going to be relevant to the anime continuity, right?
Is something involving Kaiba.
Okay, so here's
season, and that's it. Everything else is the same.
Just everything about it. Just when we're gonna get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. Okay.
For now, so as they're leaving the museum, I guess they suddenly see a whole bunch of people with distinctive hairstyles.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. I'm used to everybody in town being either a faceless blob or a boring businessman, but suddenly it's like they're anime characters in this town. What's going on?
He can just sense their hair.
And then suddenly, Kaiba appears on every TV screen in the city.
Including, like, a blimp.
Including a blimp.
That's later.
Oh, is it? I thought that was now.
Yeah.
When he actually starts the Battle City competition, you can hear his voice, like people hear his voice, and it's like, oh, well, that sounds like Kaiba, where is he coming from? And then this blimp just appears out of fucking nowhere, with a TV the size of a fucking building just dangling from it.
Yeah, so Kaiba is all like, hey, I bought this entire fucking city, and now we're gonna turn it into a battlefield.
Yep.
And this is pretty much a literal battle.
Kaiba, pioneering the battle royale.
This is pretty much literally a battle because, again, as I have mentioned multiple times, Kaiba Corp used to be the leading military hardware manufacturer in the whole world, and then Kaiba turned it into card games.
Yes.
So the whole world had to rapidly shift towards card games for military warfare. It's crazy. This is all crazy. And anyway, so like, hey, gambling.
Paisanos.
Yeah, that's basically he appears on TV, says, hey, gambling, and that's it.
That's
all it is.
Battle City, which is going to be a tournament where you fight people and you get holographic cards from them, and if you put them on top of each other, it shows you where to go for the finals. And even though
they all very clearly have a very specific puzzle piece.
I love this. This entire arc is just like Battle City is the Chad to fucking Duelist Kingdom's Virgin. It's literally the same thing. You just swapped out the various MacGuffins and villains for better versions of them.
This is a very common. This is a very common thing in anime. Actually, it happens a lot in Dragon Ball. So if you notice, in Japan, most series are either one shots. They go on for one season or one just volume, and then they're done. Or they go on for literally ever.
No.
Chip, I'm sure you're aware.
Oh yes, very much.
Yep.
I've been reading One Piece.
Yes.
Hey Levi, where are you? How you doing?
Yep. So basically,
by the way, there's a new episode of the One Piece show coming out soon. I've read it. Just go upload it.
Basically, manga is made from the jump to be one and done thing, and then if it's popular, they keep going. But not a lot of people actually know how to maintain a series that goes on indefinitely. So you get a lot of repetition going on. And Battle City. This time, what if gambling, but more gambling?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, but of course, the most important change to Battle City is the change to the rule set, which is now slightly more like the real-life card game.
So Kaiba thought all of that ancient Egyptian nonsense was bullshit, but he saw that they were he saw tribute summoning in that vision, was like, this.
You know what? I do want more of an unnecessary challenge to bring out my signature card.
You know what? This ancient Egyptian bullshit is onto something.
Yeah. So okay.
I do enjoy making my own game harder for myself.
Yep. Okay, so we came up with, I don't remember if it was Chip or Liam, you'll probably interject when I get to it, when I say it with my words in my mouth. So I guess when Kaiba was trying to, so one of us guessed that when Kaiba was trying to program the god cards into the duel discs, they didn't work unless tribute summoning was implemented.
Yes, that's my headcanon. Yep. I like to think that the god cards have some extra ancient Egyptian magic bullshit going on, in that they don't work unless you use them right.
They do, actually. As I mentioned, there is no rule in the rulebook that 12-star monsters require 3 sacrifices. That needs to be written on the card as a card effect. Which means which means that, yes, the god cards do not work unless there is a tribute summon, because the god cards, that is part of them working, is that they are tribute summoned.
There we go.
It's confusing.
So, so my headcanon is that Kaiba figured that out and then rebalanced the whole game around tribute summons to make that a thing.
And then I guess Pegasus was into it and started making cards that had a specific effects for tribute summons.
Okay, you say Pegasus was into it. Doesn't, Yugi and or Kaiba own Duel Monsters now?
Yep. They don't mention it ever.
Except for the anime continuity, I guess, because as we started, I was going on about Pegasus earlier for a reason. Apparently, he's still alive, and he still owns Industrial Illusions. And even in the manga, apparently his son took over after he died.
Yep. I choose to believe that Yugi owns a majority share of Industrial Illusions. He just doesn't make any executive decisions because he doesn't feel like he can contribute to the development of the game. I choose to believe that, even if it's not.
Yes, I, with my 3,000 years of Egyptian card game knowledge, can contribute nothing to this game that I made.
Okay, no, see, that's Yami, that's different.
Technically, yes, Yami, I think, did make this game.
Even so, I'm pretty sure that Yugi could find a way to contribute to this if he really wanted to.
Yep. Anyway, tributes. Anyway, so Kaiba announces gambling, and everyone is on board with this. Yep. It's really confusing why everyone is so pumped up about giving away cards that mean so much to them, but alright.
Yeah. Anyway,
yep,
so...
and,
I don't think people are so pumped up about having to give away cards as they are like, oh, I'm obviously going to win, so that means I get a bunch of rare cards. Nobody's thinking about the possibility that they're gonna lose.
Yes, they're all everyone in this city is very arrogant.
Yeah.
Including the tourists. So Yugi and his friends and Kaiba and all them, they're the only ones that actually live in this town. Everyone else, every other familiar character and new character, came to the city because they heard about it on an internet message board.
Also, let's appreciate for a moment that apparently Kaiba is the father of modern VR. Because
basically,
the second generation dual disc is literally the inverse of how actual VR headsets work, right down to the sensors that you place in the corner of a room. When you activate the dual disc, it just launches those out onto the ground.
Yep.
And modern VR headsets did not exist in any way at the point that the dual disc was created, so... This is something that Kaiba literally invented, both in universe and out.
Later generations of the dual disc will just project holograms from the actual thing you wear. I don't know how that works. They basically they forget about the Batwing hologram projectors almost as soon as they're introduced. But
if Star Trek predicted modern cellular phone, then Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to predict the path that VR is going down. So by the time we get to so Vrains is we're gonna be in for some real shit when we get down to the Vrains continuity. Doesn't Vrains take place entirely on the internet or something?
Entirely, yes.
Mostly on the internet.
Yeah.
And they introduce an entire card archetype that can only exist in cyberspace.
Yeah, but by the way,
to my favorite Ninja Turtles series.
We forgot to mention the best part about the new dual discs, and that's that Kaiba specifically made them so that they hurt you when you lose life points.
Yep.
What a Chad.
Yep.
He made it so when you get attacked in the game, you get attacked in real life.
Yeah. Before, it was always just kind of vague whether or not people were actually getting hurt by this shit. Now it's explicit. The dual discs have a safety mode that is off by default.
Not just that, but looking at some of the duels, it seems like the monsters, it's not just light projections. They are actually physically physically tangible. And when you get directly attacked by a monster, you get your shit kicked in.
Yes, they are. The holograms, if you pay attention, the technology is called solid vision.
Yeah. But it was never very clear whether or not that was actually, what if the name meant anything as to how the holograms actually operated. Mainly because prior to just now, you couldn't actually directly attack anyone.
And Pegasus's motivation during Duelist Kingdom was that he thought that if he owned Kaiba Corp, that he could pretty much used the holograms to bring his fiancée back to life. Because he could. That's it. The problem with that is, though, Pegasus, the holograms read your mind. That you don't need to own Kaiba Corp to program the card into the. You could just put the card you've already made onto the projector and it'll work. Just dumbass.
Yeah.
Dumbass! That whole plot could have been avoided if he just thought, just before I do this crazy scheme, I'm gonna just put this card I just made on this hologram projector and see what happens. Oh shit, my wife is alive again.
Wait, so does that mean if he played Kaiba or Mokuba's soul cards, that there would just be a holographic Kaiba or Mokuba?
Probably.
Yeah, and so I've been thinking a lot about Star Trek now because of this shit.
The Doctor.
So in the canon future of Star Trek that we never really see a whole lot of, the Doctor just kind of is a person now. He has a portable hologram projector that he just wears at all times. Yep, he gets to be a person now.
Which he really had to fight for. Like, I don't mean to deviate too much, but it's like, for all the equality and like, oh, we're living in peace and harmony and there's no war or anything in Star Trek, the Doctor had to fight so damn hard to be categorized as a person. Like, it's such stark comparison to the rest of the series. I don't understand. That's the one thing that I really don't like about Voyager, is just like, it clashes so hard with the rest of the ideals of the Federation that he had to fight that hard.
I really hate this idea that we seem to have, that there will just always be prejudice and there is no stopping it.
It's like the whole point of Star Trek is that there's no prejudice, there's no war. And then the Doctor's whole subplot of having to fight to be recognized as a living being came into play. And it's like, why? Why is this a thing?
But yeah, no, so like, if Pegasus wasn't a dumbass and realized that he could just bring his wife back to life without the corporate espionage. God, so weird. Again, Kaiba brought about world peace. I'm pretty sure hologram rights would be established pretty early on, and the whole world would be weird because of it.
So does that mean that... Okay, here, that actually brings up more interesting points. I know, Chip, are you there? Yeah, you're muted for a second.
Yeah, I'll cut out background noise.
You mentioned something a while ago about cards having a degree of sentience.
Yeah.
Like, you go on about that, because that's a thing that plays into this.
Okay.
Well, okay, so I was just saying, like, so in some of these duels, like, you can see that the cards, like, they get annoyed when the player, like, does something wrong or sacrifices them or something.
This is especially noticeable in the duel against Pandora.
Yes, our cards...
Everything about that duel indicates that, at the very least, signature cards are self-aware to an extent.
Oh, they all are.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how the ancient Egyptian flashbacks, they all say the stone tablets contain the soul of a real-life monster. The trading cards are just that. Trading cards were made with the same rituals, I guess, as the stone tablets. Even if a monster is designed from whole cloth out of the trading card and it never existed in ancient Egypt, it's alive now.
So what does that mean for Pandora's Dark Magician, then? Because they're clearly very different characterizations of the same being.
Well, yeah. We don't really get an elaboration on that because spoilers, we do get a backstory for how the Dark Magician came to be so closely tied to the Pharaoh, we do not get an elaboration on what the fuck Red Dark Magician is. I think he's just supposed to be like a Bizarro Superman type deal.
He's badass.
Yeah, he's just like, I guess he's just a guy.
He's a shitty Dark Magician cosplayer that got turned into a card.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's just like, it's weird.
Anyway, Joey gets attacked by rare hunters on his way to the hospital.
Oh yeah, so Joey's sister is getting her eye operation, but she refuses to do anything without her brother.
She's too scared to do anything without her Oni-chan.
She's too scared to get her eyes scooped out and replaced with good eyes or whatever happens.
Speaking of things like that, can I just say that I very much appreciate that they don't do with any characters what they did in season 0 and have them fucking cutesy speaking in the third person and shit. I absolutely hated that irrationally.
You're really hung up on that,
reason.
aren't you?
Dude, because Miho was so stupid. Let's just pretend she didn't exist, just like everyone else does.
Yep. Anyway, so we skipped over the part where apparently the dual discs cost money because they're a real product that is being sold. But if you qualify for Battle City, you get a free one. And Joey does not qualify, even though people that lost in Duelist Kingdom do.
Yeah, it's just Kaiba being a piece of shit.
That's because Kaiba being a dick. Yeah, he just doesn't like him.
He literally categorized him word for word in the system as level 2 nobody. He had a special title.
So when Kaiba meets Joey later, he remembers. He's like, that guy's not supposed to qualify. Like, he typed that in himself.
And whenever, sometimes duels...
I bet you the whole thing was like optimized based on like standings in other tournaments, but then like Kaiba went in and was like changed Joey's thing specifically so that he couldn't qualify, because that's the only way.
There's a website for Battle City that broadcasts statistics for duels, and so every time someone watches Joey duel, it says he's a nobody.
Yep.
And sometimes these duels just appear on TV screens throughout the city, like on buildings and shit. So broadcast to the whole fucking world, this guy, who is cleaning the floor with these pros, is a nobody.
Yes, but at least now he's a level 4 nobody instead of a level 2.
Kaiba lost the plot from the beginning. It was like, I'm gonna make a honeypot for these criminals.
That's the point. Kaiba doesn't give a shit.
Okay, but see, the thing is, he wants to lure in these criminals. You know what would lure in these criminals? A guy with red eyes who I claim is a bad guy. So, like, okay, so basically, Kaiba should give Joey a free duel disc, but still call him a nobody.
You clearly underestimate Kaiba's hatred for Joey.
But it's okay.
Kaiba's distaste for Joey overrides his desire for the god cards.
But it's okay, though, because it just so happens that the cashier at the store where they're at currently, where Yugi gets his duel disc, happens to be a rare hunter, and he sees that Joey has a Red Eyes Black Dragon, which is apparently a rare card for some reason. And he's like, there's a mistake with the computer, and I guess it's just a Word document that he can edit, because he changes the 2 to a 5.
Yes.
And it's like, it turns out you do qualify. Here you go. Here's your thing that can't possibly be... Like, it just baffles the mind that the Red Eyes Black Dragon is apparently more valuable than a duel disc, because you could probably get more for selling that shit on eBay than you could for that card.
So here's the thing: does this mean that Joey now entered at at the cost of someone else who would have qualified, or is it just first come, first serve?
No, I'm fairly certain that Kaiba manufactured, like, a lot of these things.
Okay, but there's a set
Pretty
number
sure it's
of...
first come, first serve.
Yeah, there's a set number of entrance cards, like, the
In
holographic
GX,
ones.
there's a goddamn monkey running around with one of these things!
Okay.
But that's GX.
Look, there's exactly 46 or 48 like holographic cards for the tournament. No more. So,
Oh.
someone else could have got that, now Joey has it.
Well, they should have had...
Oh,
they should have had a better card.
I guess so.
The Rare Hunters really wanted the Red Eyes Black Dragon for some reason.
And so they go to beat him up. I mean, duel him for it.
I am really confused. I'm so confused. Like, okay, so, as I mentioned earlier, rare cards can either be really good cards that everyone wants, or really shitty cards that are only valuable because no one wants them. Or manufactured scarcity. Like,
yes.
Zara the Mant is supposed to be like a prize card that, like, no one would want, except that there's only like 8 of them. It's like a symbol of opulence. The Red Eyes Black Dragon, I guess, is one of I guess. It's not as good as the Blue Eyes. And I guess there's only one of them, because why wouldn't they have one already?
Yeah. So, anyway, a bunch of rare hunters, like, one of them challenges Joey to a duel, and he's just like, well,
on his
I
way
guess,
to the hospital.
I'm on my way to the hospital, and I know you guys are the bad guys, but okay, let's have a duel.
I'm a duelist, and duelists always have to say yes. It's like Pokemon rules. If you make eye contact, you gotta throw balls at each other.
I guess.
Yeah, and Joey's like playing the cards, and this guy, he sucks so much.
Okay, but also Joey sucks because he doesn't understand Battle City rules yet.
I mean, Joey does a pretty good job in this episode at least, but this guy just keeps playing card after card in defense mode, doesn't do anything, he's playing Graceful Cherry, he's drawing a bunch. What's he up to? His strategy is really stupid, and he sucks. And then Joey's all like, hey, Red Eyes Black Dragon! I figured if you guys wanted it so much, I'd at least let you see it. And he summons the Red Eyes Black Dragon, and the rare hunter he's dueling has like an orgasm.
I guess, but he summons Exodia anyway.
Doesn't he get real horny about it? And then he's all like, well, as it turns out, I actually have a better card, and I'll show it to you.
Yeah. And Joey's like, oh no, not Exodia.
Oh no,
no.
Did. Oh, you hold on. I'm gonna try to do a Brooklyn accent. Hey, you.
That was terrible.
Oh no, Exodia! No one's ever been able to summon.
That is absolutely awful.
Not Exodia.
That's worse.
I am so bad at this. Yeah. So, okay, you want to know why that voice is so hard to do? That's basically the guy's actual speaking voice. He just naturally has that accent, and it's really hard to replicate.
So, anyway, he loses, and then he gets real depressed about it, and...
Of course he loses.
Wait, he gets real depressed about it, and then, hangs out on the beach until sunrise.
It's just like... And then Tristan shows up and is like, hey, man, what gives? Your sister...
Tristan shows up on a motorcycle, which he borrowed from an upperclassman.
Joey, what's up? Your sister, she's blind. And then Joey's all like, I lost red eyes. And then Tristan's all like, you what? And then it's just like, I just love that reaction. There's more important shit going on, and this for a split second Tristan forgets. And then he's all like, wait a minute, I don't care about card games. Joey, what the fuck? I love watching you guys play card games for some reason, but god damn it, your sister.
And then Joey's like,
damn it,
I
forgot about her. I don't want to keep hitting on a blind girl. That's creepy.
Yeah.
And then Joey's all like, you're right, Tristan. Hitting on a blind girl is creepy. I'm gonna go unblind her.
Yes. So he goes to the hospital.
So he rides bitch on Tristan's motorcycle. That's officially what it's called, the bitch seat.
And and he goes, "It's okay, Oni-chan, Nei-chan. It's okay, yep. I'm here. Get your operation." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Yep. This is stupid. Also, Joey's mother is there.
Yes. Joey's mother, who Joey seems to not be on very good terms with.
Unlike Yugi's mother, we actually get spoken confirmation that that's who this is.
Yes.
It's not just some random woman that showed up.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't even sure that Yugi's mother was Yugi's mother.
Yeah, like, if you didn't know it was Yugi's mother, you could just be mistaken for thinking that's a customer of the game shop that thought that
that's who I thought she was. That's honestly who I thought she was.
Thought that the upstairs was part of the store, because some stores have more than one floor.
Yeah.
Frankly, I forgot who it was for a split second, and I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
This is stupid. Anyway, so Joey canonically has the only parent in the world.
Yep.
Yep.
Thankfully, Shizuka gets her operation. Cool.
Thankfully, he mentions that he was beat up on the way to the hospital, and he feels bad about it, and he's sorry. He does not mention the card games. I am very happy about that. I swear to God, I think he actually did mention card games in the American version, and it was so cringy. It was like, you almost let your sister go blind because you were sad about card games? Don't tell her that. Don't tell her that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that that's actually his motivation, but I prefer it if he doesn't tell his sister that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is it. That is the perfect canon. Yes. That he actually almost let his sister go blind because he was sad about card games, and he realized he probably shouldn't tell her that.
Yes. So, anyway, back to the city. Battle City. Begin. Hooray!
And then
it's finally time.
And then, just like with Duelist Kingdom, Yugi's gotta be the first guy to do a thing, and he do it.
Yes.
And he tracks down he doesn't track down the guy who beat up Joey. Joey tracks down the guy who beat up Joey, and it's all like, hey, I want a rematch, even though I don't have my best card anymore, and you have the best cards.
And Yugi's like, no, Joey, don't embarrass yourself, I'll do this.
Yeah, Seeker's all like, bitch, I beat you the first time. What the hell?
Yeah.
Bitch. So like Seeker is just hanging out at a restaurant, drinking tea, watching his laptop, looking up the duel ranks, and like for a split second we actually see the two duelists who hung out with Bones and Bandit Keith, and it's the only confirmation we will ever have that they actually played the card game themselves. Huh. It's actually, we get enough of a glimpse to maybe piece together what their cards were actually like.
Neat.
The red-headed one probably plays fire monsters, and the spiky-haired one, the other one, probably plays lightning monsters. Anyway, neat. So Seeker's all like, okay, fine, I'll duel Yugi. I'm pretty sure your best card is Dark Magician. For some reason, we don't want that one. But sure, I'll play you. I'm great. And then Yugi plays him, and then he's all like, no, you're not. And Kaiba is watching the duel over the computer. Oh my god, we skipped the duel with the robot.
Oh yeah, that happened.
We'll do that.
Kaiba beat up a robot with cards.
Yeah, so Kaiba is doing a final test for the duel discs like a couple episodes ago, and he set a robot on fire with the sheer awesome might of Mike the Evil Living Building.
Obelisk the Great War God, or just the God of Obelisk, sometimes.
They did some... Kazuki Takahashi, he did some research for Egyptian mythology when he came up with the stuff in this, and he, I guess, just kind of shit himself one day, and just like, that thing that they call the buildings and the monuments, that they named a god, they basically named a god, named him the god of Washington Penis Tower.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay, but yeah. I love this duel because so Kaiba just handed off his Duelist Kingdom deck to the robot, and it seems like he played with a draft deck made up of cards, a booster pack again. This one is Magic Ruler, Spell Ruler, the one with Relinquished, and most of the cards from that. And it's the first duel with the rules and the tribute summons and all that. It's really good. Oh, and Kaiba pisses his pants when the robot summons Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. He's all like, is this what Yugi feels whenever he sees this monster? I'm scared. But also, I have a blue guy who punch good.
I'm scared, but strangely aroused.
God damn it.
I have this blue guy who punch good if he eats a horse. So yeah.
Yes.
Those monsters are called Mahavelo and Dark Zebra.
Yeah.
Those are the first sacrifices to the obelisk of the Tormentor.
Neat.
Yep.
So anyway, Yugi challenges Seeker to a duel.
Back to Exodia Man. Kaiba is watching this duel on a computer, and he's all like, this guy that Yugi's dueling, he's really weird. Why is Yugi dueling this guy? His strategy makes no sense.
Yeah, and Mokuba's like, oh, this guy's got like 3 copies of Exodia. He's obviously cheating. And Kaiba's like, just let it carry on anyway. Yugi's got to win. So
apparently there are rules. There are ban lists in universe. One of the ban list stipulations is you can't have more than 1 copy of the Exodia cards. It's not usually relevant because they are way more rare in the anime in universe than they are in real life.
You wouldn't have more than 1 copy of them anyway, because all they would do is hurt the consistency of your deck.
Yeah, that's why Seeker sucks so much.
Yeah. But also in the Japanese version, they also make mention of the fact that, these are probably fake Exodia cards as well.
Oh, they are definitely fake. Again, very rare cards. Very, very rare cards. There are only 2 people in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! That have Exodia. Like, for real. Obviously there is Seeker and 1 other character. But aside from that, just Solomon and a character named Adrian Gecko in GX. And even then, he had to get the Exodia cards from an ancient demon, not from Egypt this time. I think this one...
Oh, well, we'll get there later. That's fucking GX Season 3.
The point... So basically, there is only 1 person in all of canon that has a legitimate copy of the 5 pieces of Exodia. And he fucking had a heart attack or something and gave his grandson, and then his grandson gave them to a bugman, and the bugman threw them in the ocean.
Yes. Anyway, so Yugi beats this guy using a card that destroys all copies of 1 card.
Because this guy sucks so much. He just plays shitty defense monster after defense monster, and he's like, I'm gonna draw a card, and it's an Exodia piece, I'm gonna draw another card, and it's an Exodia piece, and then he draws another card, oh shit, it's an Exodia piece I already got! Well, I don't have any monsters, so I guess I'll play it! And then Yugi's all like, hey! Here's a card from a booster pack! And then the guy's all like, ah, shit!
Yeah, Yugi plays Chain Destruction, which destroys every copy of the Exodia head, so now the guy has no strategy, and Yugi wins.
And they actually come up with they actually, years down the line, realized, oh shit, people build an entire deck around Exodia, and this happens, and that's no good. So there are multiple cards now that, if your Exodia pieces are in their graveyard, then here's an alternative winning strategy for you. It tends to be more viable than getting them in your hand at this point.
Yeah. So Yugi wins, and he gets back Joey's Red Eyes. But Joey doesn't want to take back his Red Eyes yet, because he didn't win it back.
but also Yugi tears the dude's deck the whole deck in half.
Yes.
Because and it's just hilarious because 4Kids decided that no, these cards aren't fake, they're marked. So that's why Yugi rips. So 4Kids, you realize you just made it worse, right?
Yeah, they don't want to acknowledge the existence of forged cards.
So okay, so like it's just okay, so in Japan, these are counterfeit cards. These are not real cards. The rare hunters probably do have an Exodia pieces that they make copies of, but these aren't that. They are fake. 4Kids decided, no, these are real Exodia pieces, but they have invisible ink on them, so Yugi thinks they're disgusting and rips them all up.
Yep.
Okay,
to be fair, they do actually have invisible ink on them.
That is true. That is actually also a thing.
They do. But 4Kids decided that was worse than them possibly being counterfeit. So that's what they went with, because they didn't want to teach the children that counterfeit cards were real.
So now Yuki just rips them up because they're marked.
Yeah, like Exodia cards are so rare that I guess in the 4Kids iteration of this continuity, Yugi just destroyed the entire world supply of Exodia cards.
I was wondering why. Okay. I know they changed it in this version to say they're marked. I mean, they are marked, but, he's just like, these are marked, and then he rips them all out. Like, why you rip them up if they're marked? To be fair, though, the Rare Hunter's rarest card would have just been, like, an Exodia head anyway, and that would have been fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are various duelists throughout Battle City whose rarest card is, like... Weevils is like Great Moth. Great, okay. That card is worthless without a whole bunch of other cards. Mako's rarest card is a Ritual Monster.
Yeah.
Great.
So instead they
fucking
give up
bullshit.
Queen and...
Yeah, throughout the duels, the only cards Yugi ever actually takes from people are the God cards. He's not interested in the rare cards. He's interested in the lore.
Yeah. But yeah, he does get Joey's red eyes back, and Joey's like, "Nah, I don't want it back. How about we fight someday, and then I'll take it back if I win."
Yep. Yugi's more interested in the lore than the loot. He's literally playing this game wrong. But yeah.
Nice.
So from here on out, the show kind of alternates. First Yugi duels, then we see a Joey duel, then Yugi duels, then a Joey duel. And unlike Duelist Kingdom, they actually diverge, like they aren't all in the same spot.
Yes. So Joey
and Taya just kind of runs back and forth between the two of them.
Yes.
Yes.
So Joey first off duels Weevil. He duels Esparoba first, right?
Yes, he does.
A new character that
never appears again.
But don't forget, Grandpa got his pervy back.
Yeah, Grandpa is up to those old man shenanigans again.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just, sneaks up on Taya in the park.
Yep.
Guess who? And then she fucking... What did you do? Throw him? It's hilarious.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep. This man is soul bonded to the unstoppable Exodia.
And then...
Let us all never forget that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Joey duels Esparoba, and Esparoba's thing is that he is psycho, and he plays psychic. I mean, and he plays psychic cards. I know.
Oh my god, sorry.
But it turns out that he's not psychic, and his brothers are just cheating.
Okay, so here's what happened. Okay, so Joey sees this guy duel Rex, and Rex loses, and then Rex is like, that guy's psychic! Don't duel him, he beat me, because he's psychic! And then Joey's like, I will beat him! And then Rex is like, you can't do that! And Joey's like, watch me! And he doesn't acknowledge that this literally happened already! This is the My episode over again! A psychic beats Rex, and then Joey beats the psychic.
Yes.
proving that they are not, in fact, the psychic.
Anyway,
by the way, I just want to mention the Wikipedia article summary of this episode, which goes: the psychic duelist Esperoba defeats Rex Raptor as easy as a Chomposaurus.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yes. So yes.
The only
Rex
difference between the premise of this duel and the my duel is that my psychic powers came from drenching her deck in perfumes, and somehow that worked. And she did not have, in fact, a small squad of miniature versions of herself using binoculars to poorly transcribe cards for her over Bluetooth headsets that shouldn't have existed yet. Yeah, they apparently can't tell the difference between skull dice and graceful dice. And
even though they're different colors.
Yep, and that's how Joey catches Esperoba's bluff. Is like, you're not really psychic because psychic people can't be colorblind.
Yeah, so anyway, and then he wins, and he gets...
He wins by playing roulette! He wins by attaching a spider to a Hellraiser and spinning Hellraiser around like a roulette wheel!
Yes.
Yeah, so then it attacks Esperoba. So, he gets Jinzo, which is a really, really good card back then. It was so good back then, I don't think it was banned, but it was limited.
Yep.
That's how good.
Yeah, so Jinzo has the power to nullify traps.
Yep.
Yes, not traps are negated, no player can activate traps, level 6, 2400 attack.
Yep.
This is bitchin'. This is like a Chad level card.
One of the first...
I thought Summon Skull was good. Fuck that. Jinzo's where it's
and
at.
his attack points aren't even too bad for what he is.
No, 2400 level 1 is godlike.
Yep.
So
yep, it's real good. It's real good. It's so good, in fact, that when they released a spell version of Jinzo, they had to give it really shitty attack points.
yeah.
Anyway, so the reason it's called Jinzo is because no one in Upper Deck or 4Kids actually speaks Japanese, and so when Jinzo was localized, the original card was called Android Psycho Shocker.
Yes.
Which is why his attacks are called that. But I guess it's pronounced Jinzoningen.
Yeah, it's Jinzoningen.
See, but it turns out, in retrospect, this was a good idea, because if they didn't translate Jinzo like that, people would have thought he was a roid. No.
Jinzo's a cool name.
What'd you use?
Jinzo's a cool name. And, Jinzo. Fucking neat. Hellraiser dude. Has a hat that he wears it, and you stick needles into his head, and he gets good.
Yes.
Jinzo.
And then Yugi duels. Who does Yugi duel?
He duels Arcana.
Yep.
He just walks into a tent and says, "Hi, I'm here to duel."
No, he finally follows a clown into a shady space.
Oh yeah, that's right, he does. There's a clown in the forest who just points to the tent.
He finally follows a clown, and it's great.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a tent, and then
they warp somewhere.
The tent happens to just have a recreation of the Mystic Box trading card.
Which actually works and teleports them into a basement somewhere in the city.
And Yugi is all like, this is really shady. This is the shadiest shit ever. There is a clown that led me into here. I'm just going to walk into this box that people put swords in. And then he ends up in a basement that is apparently Kaiba Corp satellites can't trace the location of this basement. All of the duelists are bugged, or there's a chip. They're chipped. Basically, Kaiba knows where everybody in Battle City is at all times, and then Yugi just suddenly blips out, and they're like, that's not good.
Yeah, well, they reason that he's probably underground somewhere because, it's hard to track stuff that's underground.
So what you're saying is, if Pegasus just put his servers underground, the Duelist Kingdom servers underground, then Kaiba wouldn't have been able to hack into the thing and cheat with that Blue Eyes duel.
Yes, exactly.
People need to put shit underground.
Yeah.
So yeah, then Arcana uses the Dark Magician too. So they both play the Dark Magician shit, and at the end of this duel, Arcana plays the Dark Magic card, which lets you summon a Dark Magician monster, not a Dark.
So
both players can summon one from their deck. So Yugi summons the Dark Magician girl, and then she gains 300 attack for each Dark Magician in either player's graveyard, and Arcana has one, and he has one, and then it kills.
This is a weird duel. It's a good duel.
And it's so funny because in this duel, it's like, you haven't been treating your monsters right. Oh, Heart of the Cards, blah, 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 blah. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I get it.
You see, the reason that Arcana was doing all this was to reunite with his wife.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah, who left him because he was so horrified.
Okay, what happened? Okay, so he explained it. He basically when he was in the hospital, he was in so much pain that when his fiance tried to comfort him and stuff, like a significant other, emotions. Yeah. He's all like, "Get away from me! I just want to be alone right now." And she was all like, "Okay, fine." Just like she left because it's complete. Because
anyway, so then at the end of this duel,
he gets owned because Merrick was just using the Millennium Rod to trick him into thinking a mannequin was his wife.
Yep.
Yes, and that's
honestly, I was misremembering the plot of this episode and thought that she died when that thing exploded. And then when I watched the episode, I was confused because where did my brain form that memory? Did I just want to? Did I just want to believe that Yu-Gi-Oh had a better plot than this?
Yeah, speaking of people dying though, in the Japanese version, like, he sets up this jewel ring with buzzsaws and stuff. In the English version, they change it to super secret shadow magic buzzsaws that send you to the shadow realm.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So it's very silly. They might have considering no one gets hit by the buzzsaws. Why didn't it just be buzzsaws anyway?
Because that's too violent to think about.
So
you can't have that in a kids show.
Violence. The monsters are literally killing each other.
Well, they edit out any monster killing that's too violent. I guess
that is true. They did answer out in the next duel, which is Weevil versus Joey. Weevil tricks Joey and sneaks Parasite into his deck.
Even though Parasite has the effect that it has in real life in the show. So I don't know what the fuck this was for.
It's kind of weird.
Parasite is like officially recognized as the weirdest card in the game. Its effect is if you have it on the field, you can activate its effect and it goes in your opponent's deck, and if they draw the card, then their cards become insects.
Yes.
No one plays it.
It seems extremely situational.
They Konami a card called Parasite Paranoid, which doesn't suck ass.
Konami really wanted to make this card good, but it just no. They had to make a new card, so Weevil hires a kid to sneak it into Joey's deck, even though he didn't need to do that. And also, what was his plan exactly? To do this to every duelist? Did he just have infinite copies of this card? What the fuck? Guess. What the fuck was the plot of this episode? And then Weevil shoots him with a slime
spider gun. Yes.
In the manga, he sprayed this kid in the eyes with insecticide. He blinded a kid to sneak a card into a guy's deck for no reason.
I kind of wish that in the
so-
manga it was just a regular gun and he just shot him, but I guess not.
I do too!
This is Weevil. Weevil's like a little scummy bitch.
Exactly.
But he's too much of a bitch to actually kill.
There is legit no reason for any of
He's
this
like-
to happen.
He's like on the like, you know, elementary school bully tier of ass.
And do you want to know what the
gun.
kid do you want to know what the kid's cover story for getting close enough to Joey's deck to steal to put the card in the deck was? His cover story, you guys. We should tell the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot.
Go ahead.
This guy wants Joey's autograph, not because he recognizes him, but because he's wearing a dual disc, and so statistically, if he gets everybody in Battle City's autograph, one of them will be worth something.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So
I love it!
So this duel basically goes very similar to before at the start. Weevil tries to summon the perfectly ultimate Great Moth. He eventually does summon the perfectly ultimate Great Moth.
And
The
Joey
duel kills
kicks its ass because it's
And
not a
then
good
he-
card.
And he's like, haha, that was just a dupe. Now my real strategy. And then he slaps down Parasite from his opponent's deck and plays Insect Barrier so his opponent's monsters can't attack because they're all insects now. And then he summons Insect Queen, which gains attack for every insect on the field. And whenever it kills a monster, it makes an insect egg. And something about them hatching, I don't know what that's about. But then Joey slaps down Gearfried, the Iron Knight, who
And it
cannot
does
be
it,
equipped.
Garfield.
And it does a thing that it doesn't do. And
Yes,
Joey
well-
wins.
Yes. Okay. So in the anime, Gearfried. In the real card game, Gearfried cannot be equipped with other cards. So I guess that's the idea. But unfortunately, in the Parasite doesn't equip anyone with anything. He just makes them all insects.
It's a passive effect. Gearfried's effect doesn't make any sense ever. It never does.
He can't turn into
Well-
an insect because he's made of metal.
And then he can't turn into an insect, so he can attack. And then he kills the insect token.
Yeah, he kills one of the babies.
Yeah.
And there you go. He won.
that-
But interesting thing, Weevil's cards have all been retrained. We now have the Super Cocoon of
Yep.
Evolution, Parasite Paranoid, and the Insect Queen Metamorphosized.
Even the entire Great Moth archetype was retooled as the ultimate insect.
Yeah, but those suck.
Well, they are infinitely better, and then they made an even better version, which is actually a moth card. I forget what it's called, Perfect Moth or something. I don't fucking remember. Some moth.
Look, the point is, you can actually summon the ultimate Great Moth with the
Yep.
Super Cocoon of Evolution.
I don't remember what the good. Yeah, but there's an even better. There's like an actually good version of the moth cards now. I don't remember what they're called.
I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah,
it's not
Joey
that one.
wins and he gets the Insect Queen because he figures, well, there's no point in taking Great Moth because I'd need all the other cards to summon it, so I might as well take the Insect Queen, you know.
Technically, the only card he really needs to use that card is a Parasite, and he doesn't really even need that.
Okay, so now we go back to Yugi, and now Yugi is with Kaiba because. Wait, am I thinking about
Okay,
this?
no. Yugi-
That's later.
Okay,
That's later.
okay. So Yugi is.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yugi-
He's going to dual strings.
He's gonna duel mime because Merrick told him that there's a mime, and Yugi's
Yeah.
all like, "Okay, I guess there's a mime," and then the mime
So-
shows up and he's like, "Hi, I'm never gonna shut up." For some reason, they decided to have a mime as a duelist, but he never shuts up. So what's even the point?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the Japanese version, like he's not a mime, he's just like an empty shell essentially that Marek controls.
No, he's a mime.
remotely.
He's,
No, he's a mime.
definitely a mime. Like,
Is he?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
he's in the corner doing fucking the box.
I
We
thought he was
actually-
just seeing
we
weird
actually
because
see
Marek wasn't
him.
controlling
We
him.
actually
Like,
see him in the earlier episodes, just standing there, like.
Yeah, I figured he was just standing there because Marek wasn't controlling him, and he's just like what else
Yeah.
is he gonna do?
Well, yeah, but he's like a living statue. It's like an actual job that you do, and
Right.
that technically makes him a mime.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I thought he was doing the fucking invisible
We didn't see
box.
it. We didn't see it, but there was probably like a donation cup or something. Like they got a side hustle going on. Like for the rare hunters, we got cards, but cards don't make all the money, so we gotta have mimes. We deal in card games and mimes.
Yeah, but anyway, as soon as Marek takes control of him, he doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
And
but see, here's the thing. A lot of fans upset. We got a mime, but he never shuts up. It would have been really interesting if he just never says anything the whole duel, and Yugi duels him, has no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting, but
it would be kind of interesting, but
how would they pad out
then the
duel
audience wouldn't know what was
talking to
going
each other
on.
back and forth?
It's like the cards make no sense. Like, have you ever watched a game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Just like a Yu-Gi-Oh Pro Replay or a Duel Links on auto? It's it's the cards shuffling around. You have no idea what's going on. It's too fast.
But yeah, so this guy's got like a multi-stage plan involving one of the Egyptian god cards, Osiris the Heaven Dragon, or Slifer the Sky Dragon, if you prefer. Which gains attack for every card in your hand, which normally you can only have 6 cards or whatever. But he's also got a card that lets him have as many cards in his hand as he wants.
It's called, creatively, Infinite Cards.
Yeah.
Good.
And then he plays a card called Card of Safe Return, which every time a card revives from the graveyard, he gets to draw 3 cards.
And then he plays a card called Thing That Doesn't Do This in the real game.
Well, it does.
It does, but not really.
Yeah. So he plays Jam Protector and Slime.
Revival Slime and Revival Slime.
Yeah.
So basically what this combo does is whenever Yugi attacks, Revival Slime intercepts, dies, and then comes back to life, and then he draws 3 cards. He has infinite cards.
Now this strategy does seem pretty OP until you also factor in, apparently Slifer automatically attacks any monster that appears on the opponent's side of the field. So all you gotta do is take control of Jam Boy. All you gotta do is take control of Slime Boy with any number of cards that can take control of stuff. Bam!
Yes.
Yeah, so then it started killing, so it became an infinite loop where Slifer would constantly blow up the Revival Jam, and then it would come back to life.
I love this.
Then it would take the damage again, and he drew through his whole deck
and
lost. Now, the funny story is, in real life, if you did this, it would just go back to his side of the field, and it wouldn't happen a second time, and that would be pretty sad. Gave his opponent 3 more cards.
That would have been hilarious. That would have been hilarious, actually, if he'd been all like, "Aha! I found a weakness to your strategy. I use Brain Control and Revival Jam. Ah, okay. Bam! I kill Revival Jam. Now it's back on my side of the field. Now what? Oh, I thought that would work.
No, if this was Magic the Gathering, that'd work. But this isn't Magic the Gathering.
Anyway, so Marek is all like, well, even though somebody with no mind to fight me is useful, I for some reason no longer want this puppet, and just lets him pass out on the street.
Yeah, so then Yugi takes Slifer the Sky Dragon, because obviously...
No, Mokuba takes it and hands it to Yugi, because eventually Kaiba had the Kaiba Corporation invest all of their resources in locating the god cards, so that if any of them were ever played anywhere, Kaiba would know about it, so he could go there and then do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then and then Yugi does it, and Kaiba wants to duel Yugi then and there over the dead body of this mime. But then the mime comes back to life and says, I'm still Merrick. I'm going to kidnap your friends. And then
and then he kidnaps Yugi's friends, and Yugi won't duel him until he rescues his friends back.
But first, SeaWorld!
Yes, and meanwhile, Joey duels Mako Tsunami. You may remember him from the first season.
Oh my god, he's back.
He's back.
He doesn't seem to understand what an aquarium is, but he picks it up real fast.
Yes, he doesn't know what an aquarium is. It's very funny.
So I guess he can only eat fish that he's caught himself, and he seems to think that there's a big tank in the middle of this cement. There's a big water tank full of water and fish and a whale. I'm gonna take this whale's lunch. And then the lady shows up and is like, don't do that. This is an aquarium. And then as what always happens to women in this show that aren't main characters, she explodes. And then he's all like, shit, coronavirus is a bitch. And then he runs the show himself. And then Joey shows up and is like, hey, Mako, we saw your badly drawn poster advertising this event. Fuck your whales, we're gonna play card games. And the audience is just...
So then they duel.
Yes.
And the audience, they duel in front of an audience of people that just want to see fucking whales.
So Mako Tsunami plays Umi, and then all his monsters are hidden under the ocean again, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, Mako is back with his sea bullshit and brings back field spells.
And then you want to know how badly he brings back field spells? They never leave ever again. Like they don't come up a lot in the show anymore, but like Umi, the ocean card, is still relevant to this day for some reason.
Keep making cards that get effects if it's on the field. So then he plays.
It is the only Legend of Blue Eyes field spell that is still relevant.
He plays Tornado Wall, which when Umi's on the field makes it so he can't take damage. So then,
then he plays his dad.
Yes, then he plays his
dad,
which is the legendary fisherman, and then he plays Fortress Whale, and Joey kills them all, and then he wins. He uses giant tornado, which is what it's supposed to be called, but it got translated into giant trunade because of English.
Giant trunade because
they took this is what they heard tornado, right? But they thought it was some Japanese word, because if you pronounce trunade with the Japanese accent is tornado, literally. That's what happened.
A lot of card names they don't even bother localizing. They're usually just romanized. Like there's a card called Spider-Man that I guess in this case it makes sense because legally you can't call something Spider-Man unless it's Spider-Man. So they just called it Kaminiki-Miki-Man.
So anyway, yes, he plays Giant Trunade, drains the sea, quote unquote, and then he hits the legendary fisherman in the ass, and he wins.
And he murders Mako's father in front of him. Cold-blooded murder.
Mako's already seen his father die once. Now he gets to watch him die again.
And then at the end of the duel, Mako offers his rarest card. He offers both the Fortress Whale ritual spell, that is his ritual monster, that is his registered rarest card, and his dad, because he's all like, if I keep a hold of this card, I can never become independent or whatever.
Don't worry. For some reason, I can't figure out. They kept calling the legendary fisherman Sea Stealth 2, and I have no idea where this comes from. Because
the strategy of monsters hiding underneath the ocean is called Sea Stealth.
Oh, so anyway, later on we'll get the Legendary Fisherman 2, and then the Legendary Fisherman 3, which is actually really badass. The Legendary Fisherman 3 is a Chad card. If you slap him down, he banishes everything on the opponent's field. It's kick ass.
Yep, I was so surprised when I found out that it's like I think it's like Zexel or something
Arc 5.
that has that like there's Arc 5, like the legendary fisherman shows up centuries in the future in another dimension.
So then,
anyway, Marek's in Domino City now. By the way, he arrived.
Yep. Yeah, he arrived, and he's really sexy, and he also rides a motorcycle. He and Tristan are the only two characters that ride motorcycles.
one of them is cool, and the other one is Tristan.
Yet.
That is a very strange connection for these two characters to share. Anyway, Marek is sexy.
Yeah,
Marek is sexy, and he knows
teams
it.
up with Bakura.
Yes, he meets up with Bakura, and they do a super villain team up. Yes.
They want to steal the Pharaoh's leather pants.
Also, his
I was so hoping that they would shoot ancient. I was so hoping that they would shoot ancient Egyptian laser beams at each other, like Bakura did with Pegasus.
They almost did.
That didn't happen.
They had like a dick measuring contest until Bakura just gave up.
They almost did. But then in a split second, they both realized that their motivations are completely compatible.
Yeah, they both want.
Yeah.
Like Marek basically realized. Wait a minute, I don't give a shit about this Millennium Rod.
I just want to kill the Pharaoh.
Look. Yeah. After I kill the Pharaoh, you can fucking have this. I don't give a shit. Apparently Marek doesn't really understand the mechanics of the situation. You kind of need the Millennium items and the God cards. But who cares?
Yeah.
It works out.
Yeah, and then
because he doesn't know he needs them.
And then
so fuck it.
And then yes, they team up. Marek pretends to be some other guy named Namu, so he can become friends with the boys, and he kidnaps the boys and girl.
Yep.
And Mokuba, and then Kaiba and Yugi have to duel on a rooftop with exploding glass to save them.
But before that, though, they have to duel in the streets. Like, they do a double duel
they do a
against
tag
someone.
duel against Loomis and Umbra the first time, and they get destroyed instantly. And then they rematch them later.
Apparently that was just a ploy to apparently they weren't sure if Kaiba had the God card or not, so they basically just dueled him with their shit tier decks, I guess.
And then Kaiba brings it out in like one turn.
Very funny.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Lord of Dragons, Flute of Dragons, poopy poopy poop. Actually, I don't remember. Wait, that's how he does it in the robot. Wait, no, this is how he does it now. He did it with the other thing in the robot. Never mind.
Yeah, he brings out Lord of Dragons, equips 2 dragon horns to him, so he can summon 4 dragons.
I like to think of myself as the Lord of D sometimes.
No, there's the King of D now.
The thing is...
Oh, well then.
And there's the Lady of D. There's a lot of D. But you know...
Yeah, they have...
D. Luffy.
God damn it.
I, however, am little...
That's not something
I
you
mentioned
should
earlier.
admit, Joe.
It's also not true.
I mentioned there's a card. No, there's a card called Little D. It's
a terrible.
Its name is supposed to be Little Dinosaur.
There's a terrible meme. It's like me. It's like me, the girl. To me, the girl, the guy. He says not to worry about it. It's just like, just bring the meme up. Just bring the meme up.
Okay, so. There are various cards. There are various card archetypes and series that have really long names, and then they just abbreviate any D words with D. So there's Guiltia the Dark Knight is called Guiltia the D Knight. Lord of Dragons is called Lord of D. Little Dinosaur is called Little D. Different Dimension Dragon is called D.
Nice. And then there's 5Ds, and...
to this day, no one's really sure what the 5Ds stands for.
Also known as Super
duelists.
Josuke.
It's dragons, because there were never dragons in Yu-Gi-Oh! Before 5Ds.
The 5 legendary dragons the signers have. I swear.
Okay.
Anyway, so, yeah, they go to a freaking rooftop.
They go to a freaking rooftop to have a Saw, to play a fucking Saw game of Saw.
Yes. There's explosives, and whoever loses dies.
And Loomis and Umbra have brought their A game to this one. And by A game, we mean bondage lady stapled onto a monster.
Yep.
I have no idea. So my best guess for what that is in the lore is it was a formless spirit that possessed a lady and then grew a body for itself around her and just kept her as a hood ornament.
Sure.
Okay.
That's my best guess because there is like a mythological thing about dragons being grown around women and the women become their hearts. It's weird. It's weird.
Sure, why not?
I fap to it.
Of course, sure, why not?
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
so they have a deck about masks.
I'm
and
sorry,
shit.
does that guy have a 3-headed dragon guitar?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yep. One of the earliest monsters in the game, and they decided to give him a retrain and give him a fucking electric guitar with 3 heads of three blue eyes heads on it. Yep.
Wonderful.
Anyway, so it's just like there's a mask deck. There's a card called Mask of Restrict that is like, yeah, Pegasus. I guess decided to make a card that restricts
that card
tributes before tributes were really. Yeah, Mask of Restrict is real useful actually, but was it really that useful before tribute summons were implemented? I don't like this card goes from trash tier to unstoppable nightmare monstrosity as soon as Kaiba learns about tribute summons. Like this card would have been used to stop Cannon Soldier and nothing else. Cannon Soldier and Catapult Turtle.
So, yeah. Anyway,
yeah, it's just, but yeah, here it's really good, and it's really bad for the boys. And Mask of Accursed is the equip card. It makes Yugi's monsters not good. Yugi really gets a shit on in this episode. It's really funny.
He gets to summon.
Yeah. So the whole
and Kaiba refuses to cooperate with Yugi for teamwork unless he deludes himself into thinking that he's tricking Yugi into doing what he wants.
Yes, that's his idea of teamwork.
Throughout this whole episode, he is actually collaborating very well with Yugi, but he has convinced himself that he's actually deceiving Yugi into doing what he wants. It's hilarious. Like, if Kaiba didn't insult Yugi every 5 seconds, you would swear to God they were actually a team.
Yes.
You would swear to God, because Kaiba is the greatest hero in all of anime, but he is such a dickhead that nobody notices.
Yeah.
He is just such an asshole that no one noticed that he would have conceivably won every Nobel Peace Prize on the board.
Yeah. So anyway, they eventually beat the Moon Brothers or Mask Brothers, whatever.
Mask Men. But it turns out that they weren't actually playing a Saw game because they had parachutes the whole time.
Yeah.
because they're because they're assholes.
Mm-hmm. And
like,
Marek
why
reveals to them, "I've kidnapped your friends and taken them to the..." Well, no, he doesn't tell them where he's taken them, but...
Does Marek not realize that Yugi will literally agree to any duel at any time and doesn't need this bullshit with the tricking him and the murdering? He doesn't need the murder!
Well, Yugi used to be into murder, so, you know.
Yugi used to be into murder, but, like...
He's not anymore.
He's mellow now.
But...
he literally dueled an amateur over a dance shenanigans.
Yeah, I just want to mention, like, there was a point in this where Yugi says, "Oh, you're dueling with your life on the line? How pathetic." And I'm just like, you can't talk about that, okay? You don't get to complain about that.
What did you say?
At some point, Yugi, like, he's dueling someone, and the guy's like, this is going to be a game where our lives are on the line. And Yugi's just like, that's just stupid. And I'm just like, Yugi, you don't get to complain about that, okay?
No. It's the Last Jedi thing all over again. It's character development. Yugi used to think murder was okay, and now he's like, murder is not okay. This is character development.
It's probably only been like a month since he last tried to kill someone.
Yep.
Remember Kaiba in Duelist Kingdom? When he was just like, yeah, if I beat you, you're gonna walk off the edge and die. That's okay.
No, but he shares a headspace with a child who is real sad about that. So he's like, oh shit, I guess that I never thought that murder could be bad.
I guess.
I will learn the consequences from the reactions of people.
Yeah. Anyway,
this is like that was like the first time when he was trying to murder people in public.
I suppose. Anyway, so yeah, they beat the masked boys.
The masked boys.
And then they get on a helicopter and leave.
Oh shit, are we done?
Yeah, there's one episode after this. We might as well cover it now.
That I don't think we...
Yeah, it's just a clip show. We didn't watch it.
Yes.
I watched it.
I watched it.
I did as well.
Surprisingly.
Did we all watch it?
Okay, let's go over it.
I thought it...
Okay, it's a fucking...
Like, as much as I question the choice of clips, I think this is exactly the way that you should do a clip show.
They're on the way there in the fucking
Pretty
helicopter, and it's literally a clip show where Kaiba and Yugi discuss the events.
Yeah, Mokuba is all like, Mokuba made it out of the thing because Anzu made a box for it. And
oh yeah, that's right.
That's the first time I've ever called her that ever in my life.
Also, we forgot to acknowledge the best quote from any anime character ever. If God stands
Brooklyn
in your way, knock God down.
Mow the God down!
Fucking Seto Kaiba.
Yes.
Yep, fucking Kaiba. So,
yeah, he's great.
Only fucking
Kaiba
so we
have a clip show.
Would be fucking obnoxious and arrogant enough to say something
Mokuba,
like that.
So,
Mokuba's got a helicopter that's going to take them to where their friends are, or to where Yuji's friends are, because Kaiba doesn't give a shit.
This episode is that Kaiba is constantly being told about all the magic and shit, and he's just like, I don't believe any of it. And then he learns about the Pharaoh and stuff, and he's like, oh my god, it's true! And then he's like, no, wait, I still don't believe it. And then...
yeah, Yugi, this is exactly the way... Okay, so the choice of clips is dumb because it's just showing clips of stuff from season 2. Like, we just watched this. There's literally clips from the previous episode in this.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But aside from this is really weird to say, but aside from the clips that they chose, this is exactly the way you should do a clip show, because the premise of the framing device isn't just, hey, you remember all the good times we had? Those were good times. Yeah. No, the framing device is Yugi explaining to Kaiba the premise of the show, that he is basically, the characters are having a conversation, filling each other in on plot details that we're watching characters exchange information that would normally be assumed to be shared off screen. But like Yugi's all like point blank, Kaiba, did you know I'm actually an old man in a child's body? He's like, holy shit! Like, it's like Kaiba has like a PTSD moment when Yugi says that, because he's like, oh shit, was Ishizu telling the truth the whole time? And then he's like, no, it's still bullshit!
It's literally Seaburst.
Yeah.
It's like, was I wrong? No, it is everyone else who was wrong.
Yes.
Oh God, was I a bad person? No, it is the Egyptians who are wrong.
I think I forgot to mention it, but Yugi summoned Valkyrion in the last episode, and that's epic, even though that card is unplayable.
Yep.
Oh.
But don't worry,
absolutely the worst.
They retrained it to Berserkion, which is playable, and I play it a lot.
Yep. They had to make the entire Magnet Warrior archetype over again because as it was not good. And you know what the worst part of it is? They made a fusion monster of Valkyrion and the good version of Valkyrion, so Konami still expects you to play the bad version of Valkyrion.
I have one copy of Valkyrion because Delta's effect lets you summon him when he dies for free. So I have one copy as like the absolute last resort to slap his ass down because he has the hugest stats.
I believe I had Valkyrion because he was a promo. So the Magnet Warriors were a promo for a game, for a video game on the Game Boy, and Valkyrion was another promo on a different game.
Oh yeah, weren't the God cards also promo cards for the video game, and that video game sold out instantly?
Shitty.
Yes, but those God cards were illegal.
Okay.
So you couldn't.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. So the original release of the God cards were strange. They basically
they were normal monsters with flavor text, and they had
they were normal monsters with trippy colors, and the card backing was a different color. So even if you did want to play them, you couldn't. It was weird. Because, it's a collectible card game, and the backing needs to all match all the time.
Yeah.
They can't change that shit. That's why Pokemon cards have gone through so many design changes over the years. Like you could put an old a classic Pokemon card and a modern Pokemon card side by side, and it looks like they're from different games completely. You turn them in the back. No, they have replicated the card backing to the point where I'm fairly certain the colors have faded on all the old cards, and they're matching that on purpose.
So yeah, the God cards weren't playable until they decided to find Jump promo. Obelisk first, then Raw.
Yep. Relatively recently.
Obelisk came out in 2009 or 8, and Raw came out.
Obelisk being the simplest of the God cards and easiest.
He's just a big guy.
Actually,
he's just a really big boy.
He's just a big guy who punch good. He's very easy to implement, and he's actually so simple to work with that he's actually very competitive and useful in just about every deck.
He's playable. He's not like Raw is unplayable, and Slifer is okay.
Slifer is fairly unwieldy and complicated, so nobody plays him. Raw, Konami has been trying their damnedest, but that card is not.
They made such a shitty version of the Winged Dragon of Raw, and they keep making more and more cards to try and fix version.
That's the thing. Okay, the thing was they made the shitty version of Raw that they made is the best they could come up with because it. Okay, don't explain what it does. Don't explain Raw at all until we get to it on Gathered. What's the show called?
Basically,
what's our show called?
So much
Gather
text.
Pharaohs.
There's so much text. They basically split it to 3 different cards.
Oh no! It's coming up to more. They're releasing more Raw cards to try to bring it more in line.
I saw.
Like the card does so much shit in the anime that they have to split every individual effect into its own card. That's how bad it is. Like,
I remember there was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, they have anime cards, and they have the anime version of Raw, and its text is so dense I can't even read it.
Like, okay, so like, I think the record for card with the smallest font point size was the original printing of Relinquished or Thousand Eyes of Strict, one of them.
Probably Thousand Eyes.
I'm fairly certain if you tried to print all of Ra's anime effects onto one card, just all of them, I think you would just have an index card with very small text on it. The whole card. Just, it's a lot. When we get to, if you ever been confused watching Yu-Gi-Oh!, you do not know pain, because we have not gotten to the part where the Winged Dragon of Ra happens.
And on that note, we should probably finish up.
Yes.
Mega Ultra Chicken!
I believe next time we will get to the part where the Winged Dragon of Ra is, because we're doing the rest of season 2.
Yes, we will. Wait. Joe, I don't remember. Do we?
I don't know either.
You know,
Battle City gets split into 2 seasons. Okay. So
I remember now. We do get to see some of Ra.
All right. Well, we'll find out next time.
No, we do. I remember.
Yes.
Next time on the next episode of Gathered Pharaohs.
I don't know what you're singing, so I'm singing something else.
Significant shrinkage.
Bye-bye, everybody.